0.25. 0.50.
That's it, I'm quitting.
0.5. And we're live. Look, I'm not an expert on timing. Oh. Alright, so we are definitely live. I just gotta, let's see, let's go to that, destinations, we are indeed live, which means Bot Hunter we have achieved a connection to the Bot Hunter. Hello, Squid. It has been a good long while. So, let's see. Zombies getting sidetracked, but that's fine. We are launching. And now while this does its thing, I'm going to go on ahead. Change status.
Are you still there? You have been removed to orbit. Yeah.
Were you removed?
I was removed.
Oh no. Alright. Join me. No. So tomorrow will be so it will be Minecraft Bedrock. So that covers effectively every version. So if you're on PS4, you can join that. Kid Gamer? Were you legitimately falling asleep, or were you doing some acting?
A little bit of both.
Oh dear.
My acting is turning into real.
Join while you're still conscious.
I don't know if I can.
Kid. Join me before it's too
I
late.
think it already is.
No. It's never too late. See. Ooh, it's not November 2020. We're not in the future yet. February. Come on, zombie.
I know what you're thinking.
Hurry. Before it's too late. Before it's too late. Good gamer. Good gamer.
Huh?
Let's I have an invite that I sent to you. I'll send you a new one.
I don't need no damn invite. Excuse my language.
Let's see. Yep, I don't want to see a cell phone recording of the final fight in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Come on, YouTube. I don't want to watch something illegally online. It wouldn't be good because it wouldn't be legal. What the heck? I have another clip. And oh dear gosh. Good gamer?
It's all your fault.
No.
It's your fault. Why do you?
Well, let's see. I am trying to get the different things set up. Cut. I need to. I messed that up. There we go. And anyway, there we go. Alright. So, I have that set up. It's so much falling and shuffling.
Ah! My dad's like, what are you on about? He's gonna come and check on me. And I'm like, no. I don't need your parental. I'll be like, I don't need your parental guidance. Just let me play my video games. In extinction. In peace. There's zombie. 20 minutes later.
We're ready.
Be like, no. So, the cheapest thing for Adam would be to buy the base game for $14.03.
Wait, what? Oh, for the Xbox version?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad price. I have been followed by an assassin named Nick. I've been added as a friend by an assassin
Name Nick.
Hello.
Oh no, it's not
Is that
the
a-
assassin named Nick. Hello, Will.
Hey, Zombie. What's going on?
Destiny 2 live stream Iron Banner.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we're back on YouTube. Not going with Minecraft
Hey.
yet, though.
I can curse again.
Well, it would be I would
Something
stray
happened.
away from that. But
Banned.
Gonna happen, son. No, right now I just got on Warframe, also known as Better Destiny.
oh, I know you didn't even need to say that. I looked over and I saw your custom status.
Zombie, you know they got Warframe on the Switch now?
Still not gonna get it.
But it's free.
Yeah, but it's less zombie friendly Destiny.
I mean, not sure I agree with that one, but okay.
I saw it said it was rated M.
I mean, is Destiny not?
It's rated T for teen.
I don't believe that's accurate.
That is. Since
I
As
don't
well
really-
as-
14.
Like, I mean, okay, let me rephrase. I believe you're telling me the truth. I just don't believe that Destiny is T for teen.
Well, I mean, there could be an argument. It's effectively the same as Call of Duty, but I think they get away with it because it's aliens and not people, really.
I mean, the
There's
fight aliens in
robots.
Warframe too, you know.
I don't know. I'm just
Zombie,
they've
are
just
you
kept
not,
it below.
are you not 18, Zombie?
Well,
Then you
I
can
sense-
handle the
sense,
mature content.
I sense contempt, and I approve.
no, Zombie was just trying to think of something clever to say in response.
No.
to it.
I sense contempt from Kid. Ah,
Zombie is now the confused.
oh boy.
Wait, oh no.
I went into a trap.
Meanwhile, I had to take 2 tests today.
Oh no, Zombie's about to die. 2 tests, they are not fun.
No, it really wasn't. It really kind of sucked. But yep, our first one would be for art history. Second one had to be for political science.
Ooh.
Did not pass the political science one.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah, got a 66 on it, which sucks.
Zombie behind us.
Behind us. Oh, I see.
I'm about to take-
Stay away
I'm
from
about
the
to
guy.
take-
Oh, son of
About to take yet another test, put on Warframe this time.
Opponent claimed Zone B.
It's a test you approve of. Ooh, there's a little bit of lag.
Yeah, it's not just you. I'm having a little lag as well, which is odd because there should be no correlation there.
Will accidentally got on Destiny.
You captured Zone B. 2 zones are yours.
Ooh, okay, there we go. That's 1 down. I need like 9 more. And can't get quite a good vantage point on this chair.
Zone B lost.
Die.
Oof. Oof, that is...
Okay.
That pun there. Oof. You know who you are in the comment section. Ooh.
Cut their momentum. Keep pushing.
Okay. Oh boy,
I'm going to call
ugh.
you underscore because there's an underscore in your name.
Okay, so I'm about to take this test. I just took a practice run that I got, barely. Here we go, test number 3. Will I make it? Who knows?
Ooh. Okay.
Zombie, why didn't you have it?
Dude.
You why?
Uh, I am. Oh, I almost got the other guy. Oh. I'm assuming that you've got a lot of those puns there, underscore. Oh no. And I'm pretty sure that you've been able to figure it out thus far. Oh no. But yeah, this stream is going to be a lot of screaming and yelling. Ooh.
Aren't the best streams usually just primarily screaming and yelling? Oh no, reloading. Yes.
Well, they're
Yes!
those are quality streams there, Will.
Oh,
But you
okay,
see,
okay.
there's the
So it's not
zombie
every
element.
stream, it's only the good one.
Like, when it comes to zombie streams, the line is very much crossed. Be coming up with a whole new language because of how much screaming and yelling.
You kind of get to the kind of language.
But
I know that language. I speak it quite regularly.
I mean, you know it's good when zombie has basically developed a subconscious danger alarm.
What? And then you just start speaking gibberish? What are you talking about?
So when I'm in a PvP setting and and being attacked, well, I mean, it's not happening so much right now, but it's been a recent thing of just zombie, just like making an up.
Yeah.
And so it's become very prominent in Overwatch.
Oh, but
Whew.
also, I passed the 3rd test. I'm now
Congratulations.
Mastery rank 10.
That's good.
Oh man, it's good for me. It's bad for everyone else because now it means that I actually get some good weapons, and I'm about to start merging.
I just had a flashback to your story about the guy who was playing who you played that round with, that game mode with, and he purposely made you lose because of type of phrase.
Sorry, behind you.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I remember it too, though. I got a question why you're remembering that suddenly.
Well, it's like when it comes to the topic of Warframe, like imagine like Zombie has a file cabinet.
You got
and so I pull out the
one file space from Warframe.
And so I open up the file, and that's like one of the only things there. So
You've got exactly one file spot. It's like you've got a single folder just full of Warframe stuff.
and that's like that's the prized file in the file. But I will say there, underscore, I'm very much afraid to ask just how many of those puns you've got.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, Zombie, as somebody who also makes puns on a fairly regular basis, you never prepare puns. Most of the time, they just kind of appear. Like if they're not off the top of your head, then they're just
Old if
original.
someone else hasn't experienced that pun yet.
I mean, you're right. But the fact is, though, is that most puns that are like most puns that are prepared are already known.
Oof. Mostly
What was going
zombies
on?
gonna be screaming like that, I think, tonight.
Zone B lost.
What at this or extinction?
I think. Oh, there we go. I think with zombie, with extinction, I'll just be. It won't be quite extreme yelling. He'll still be there though.
You'll still be yelling.
Yeah.
You captured Zone B. 2 zones are yours.
I'm so frustrated. New weapons. But I need stuff that requires 24 hours of build time to build the new weapon. But I want it.
1 minute remains.
Oh boy, I ain't actually get one of them away. The other one now.
I got golden gun.
How could you, kid?
Easy. He snuck up on me.
I could get a golden gun if I got a gun and painted it gold.
Opponent claims Zone A.
I'm going in, zombie. I'm going in!
We'll let that one set. Okay.
Oh.
I got him for you.
Okay. Hey,
You
zombie.
saved my life there, kid. What's up, Will?
Make a guess. I'll give you a hint. It's probably somewhere in the 100 range. What would an Axoletto Prime cost?
Gone better.
Well, 558.
Jesus Christ, man. Calm down.
Hundreds, you said.
I mean, I said in the price range of 800.
Oh.
You want to try again? I'll give you
93.
another. I'll give you another go.
93.
93.
93.
Okay. While that is in fact in the range, apparently let's see, get some statistics up. The average price over the last 48 hours. Wow, that's actually bizarre. It's a
93.
bizarre point. That can't be correct.
Uh,
Okay, there it is.
well,
Is about 60.
huh. 33 high. Okay. Alright. Zombie can't win them all. But, alright, underscore, thanks for stopping by. It was nice meeting you. And you have a good night.
I'm probably gonna have to pay about 70 for this. Basically, I'm going down the list of in-game level weapons that I used to have on PS4 that I don't have on PC anymore, and I'm just checking. I'm just checking off the boxes. So here I am about to try and buy an Axoletto Prime. I'm just really hoping that that's something I can do.
Oh no, zombie.
Okay, like stiletto.
Oh yeah. Drop the ball on that one.
Why?
I meant to be on much earlier today, and I was going to do some vault management, and I didn't do vault management.
How could you?
I know.
Don't make me hurt.
Now, you want to make a second guess, zombie, of how much the first guy is gonna offer. Because I'm betting somebody's gonna offer me like 150 right off the bat.
I'll give you $1.
144.
144.
144.
Okay.
We'll
Let's see how it
what
goes.
happens.
'Cause that thing I found is that there's like the whole in-game economy for Warframe. So like,
It
and
flexes.
people love to try and scam other people on this thing.
How lovely.
You know, actually, the first guy, not bad. He was better than both. He offered 80.
Hmm.
And you know what? I was thinking going in, I'll take 70. I'll take 80. Sold.
Fruit snacks. I wouldn't say that they're candy, they're squid, but I can. They're just like they're. I guess they'd be kind of technically a gray area in between, like a snack and a candy.
I mean, if it's like a fruit thing that's not actual fruit, then that's just straight candy.
Let us see what today's guardians are made of.
I mean, zombies. I mean, it's hard. I don't know. I'm having a back and forth in my mind, and I don't feel like ooh, figuring out where I want to stand. Thank you, kid.
I mean, pretty much for me, it's pretty straightforward. It's if it's like dehydrated fruit, then it's just a little snack. But if it's a gummy of any kind, even if it's fruit flavored, that's just candy.
So do you gummy bears is candy?
Yeah.
Definitely gummy bears. Oof. Ooh. Ooh.
Are they back at B?
They're getting flag Batman.
Not on my watch.
Zone B lost.
Okay, they got it on my watch. I'm sorry, zombie.
It's fine. I'm on my way.
You captured Zone B. Zone advantage is yours. Zone C lost. You've lost the lead.
I mean,
It's your
medicine
kingdom.
gummies? That's just medicine. Medicine's medicine.
I
I
mean,
mean, I would.
Zombie, get him.
What?
Did you get him?
I got him, but I hit him with a shotgun. He's like, "What was that, bud?"
Zone advantage
It's like,
is yours.
oh.
Did you just tickle me? Woohoo!
Oh! Okay, we're good.
You got the kill. I got a kill.
High five. Yeah.
okay, so I now have an
Punches to the face
Oxaletto.
count as high fives.
First one to pass out loses.
You stay away from Good Gamer.
Our teammate saved my life.
Oh, it's a 12-hour one too. That's so good. I'm gonna have one of my favorite weapons.
Yes,
gonna have it like tomorrow.
awesome.
I'm glad to see that because I was worried that I was not gonna have a single one of these weapons by the time I got up tomorrow, which I should have done. I should be able to get these weapons by tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll just get back on my perch and crouch. I am the night.
See, that's what I was thinking to myself. Is like sound like Batman over there.
It's a whole
Zombie! Enemy! Alright, I got him.
Oh.
More enemies!
What the? Oh, no, I didn't get. Hey, you stop. Ay.
They can't stop me while I'm on my perch.
We're just gonna tag team it.
We'll protect B. They can have everything else.
We'll just have Flag Batman.
Oh no, I'm dead. I'm down.
The
I've been
one
sniped.
flaw. No, you get out of my bubble. That's my bubble.
It's bubble. Always it's bubble. They're coming for your bubble, zombie.
Zone A. You have the advantage. Press
And I disagree, Squid, about your comment.
Remember all those moments where like you just kind of like phase out for a second, and you come back, and the conversation just going a really weird direction.
Are you calling
Yeah, I just phased out and then came back to bubbles. Like, excuse me, what?
One bubble at a time.
Zombie.
Oh! No, kid!
Zone C captured.
Well, the only thing was, I was thinking less than an hour ago how much I like the phrase "big bubble blowing baby."
Big bubble, baby. Get to the chopper. Zombie, I forgot where B is. How do I get to B?
You just look for the bee.
Let the wolf rest. The hunt is over.
Ooh.
If you were like a small flying creature with yellow and black stripes, would you be?
Ah! To B or not to B.
You captured zone
I just...
2 zones.
I gotta run.
So... I'm assuming that was the whole joke you were going for there, Will. I'm assuming.
Always ready to like, yeah, that was a joke, right?
That... Because I feel like I heard a bad joke and I'm disappointed, but I'm not sure if I should be disappointed. And so
Here's the thing, though.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Here's the thing. It was a pun, which means if you were disappointed, then the pun was successful, which makes it a better joke, not worse.
I mean, I'm not saying it's just bad, but I'm definitely saying I'm disappointed.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, Zombie, the whole point of a pun
You won.
is to be a terrible joke.
Zombie, they're coming.
You can directly measure how effective a pun was by the intensity and number of groans in the room.
Zone C.
You know, there was something like that in the Sonic movie. It's actually quite funny. The acting was really good on that.
Wait, what? What about the Sonic movie?
Basically, there's well, it'd be kind of spoilers. I know that you more than likely don't care. I don't know.
I mean,
about
I
you there, Squid.
mildly am interested in watching it, but
This is a good movie.
Like, I honestly, the only reason I might watch it is because of the fact that I keep hearing people say, like, "Oh, it's actually pretty good."
It's
It actually is.
But also, that being said, I have very little funds with which I can use to go to the movies, so it becomes less likely. But something I realize now, while I have the ability to drive myself to the movie theater and actually watch the movies I want to, doesn't mean I have the money to pay for said movies.
All right, I'll get you a
Will.
ticket. Come to Georgia.
You pick me up, I'll pay for the movie.
I mean, I know
Zombie.
you would, Zombie.
I can get a free ticket.
There's a flaw to your plan, though.
Don't
Zombie,
worry
remember-
about the gas money. We'll have Kid cover it.
No, we'll have Adam cover it. He's got a job now.
Okay.
I want a job so badly.
Same. And I did see the new Star Wars movie there, Squid. And Squid
I
is
still have yet
also
to see that
agreeing
movie.
Sonic is
When you
good.
say new, are you referring to Rise of Skywalker?
Yes. Holy macaroni.
Get your bubble ready.
I already have a bubble on B.
You have the advantage. Press on.
We got B.
We
We're
got
winning. We got C, B, and D.
Like the whale?
But
The well.
the will.
Okay.
Thought he said the whale. Be like, we got the whale? What whale?
Well, whales have got oil too.
We got Moby Dick. I'm been shot at.
Decide.
It's a hard book to read.
Oh, that's not.
Alright, we got this one zombie. Woo!
Zone C.
Hi,
You
zombie.
Stay away. You stay away, bud. We're gonna give you a chance. We're giving you mercy right now.
Undeniable.
Yeah, you chose life, which was smart. Oh, he chose not life for me! But it's fine, I just got an exotic, and I need to back out.
Good, I need to go to the tower anyways.
We need to play
Was he-
more often, kid, because I actually can compete with these people and not die.
Well, I can't.
Is that an insult?
No, because I mean, he's effectively within my same, like, we're both within the same group of power level. I mean, I would consider a 20 range to be a grouping. Because we're within 18 power level difference.
My mind is blank. I'm fried, by the way. If that wasn't immediately obvious.
I don't know why you would choose to join the stream chat then, because you're just going to subject yourself to even more.
I mean, who... See, here's the thing. Fried equals funny, usually. In the right doses. These doses are not present, I suspect.
I mean, I don't know. I usually just crank everything to 12 and call it a day.
Hmm.
So I don't worry about doses.
Zombie.
I mean, that would explain a lot.
I know, right? It's
Okay,
like
oh.
it's like the entire mindset of zombie has just been revealed in a way that makes sense.
Hmm?
And what's up, kid?
Look at my level.
Did you make it to 900?
I'm at 900.
Yes.
But I will still die easy. I feel like I got a lot of kills that last match.
You did good. We did good. We did fantastic.
Apes together, strong.
I love that movie.
Birds of a feather flock together.
I don't understand.
You know, if you're the same type of bird, you flock together.
But
I'll bet there's also more to that phrase that completely contradicts what the first part there sounds like. Like there's so many phrases I've seen where it's like the phrase that you know means the opposite of the original phrase.
But does
Like-
it?
Well, like the biggest one I can think of immediately is great minds think alike. The continuation of it though is great minds think alike, but fools rarely differ.
I never knew.
But one, blood is thicker than water.
Because it is.
I mean, you're correct. But in reality, the full phrase would translate better to the blood of brothers is thicker than the water of the womb, meaning the exact opposite of what you would immediately think.
Interesting.
And apparently most phrases that you know are actually like completely inverted. The phrase I know most of the phrases that I knew were completely inverted for no reason that I can understand.
I got a prime engram.
Zombie's just completely drawing blanks right now.
What's up?
I'm trying to think of like something to say in reply, and Brand's just like, "No, you're good." And I'm like, "No, I'm not good. I need something. You're good."
But you see, Zombie, what I have done is I brought my friedness here, and now I'm taking your not friedness. Welcome to the frying pan.
Oh
That sounds like an actually interesting podcast. Welcome to the frying pan.
no. Will, the podcast we're going to do someday.
Yeah,
That's
we do a
us,
podcast.
that's the
Welcome to
name.
frying pan.
Yes. This is the announcement stream. For
And what's your name's gonna be? Eggs and bacon?
I mean, our names would just be our
Scrambled
names.
eggs.
Scrambled eggs and bacon. I'm bacon. I'm
Wait.
scrambled eggs.
No. That's what
Hard-boiled egg
we
and
call our
soft-boiled egg.
followers. That would be the followers. They would be the scrambled eggs. Because we'd be scrambling their brains.
With the nonsense.
I mean, I could not picture a more confusing pair that I like actually know. Because me and Zombie do not operate on the same wavelength ever. We operate on completely different wavelengths, but are somehow able to communicate nonetheless.
That's why y'all are perfect for each other.
So yeah, it really would just be extremely confusing.
Everybody would be scratching their heads after hearing the podcast, like, what did I just witness?
Yeah.
Did I listen to?
It's like it's the personification of the "this is fine" meme. Actually, no way. It's the product of the Elmo hailing a burning inferno meme. It's a personification of that.
The frying.
This is fine. Like implies a certain amount of calmness to the whole proceeding.
I mean, I'm always calm.
I mean,
Within-
I would
within the
beg to
fire.
differ.
Within the fire. See, that's a hand cannon. Lord Saladin says I need a hand cannon. Therefore, I'm going to use this hand cannon and level up my good hand cannon, which will effectively be the same gun I've been using because it works just like a pulse rifle, and I only use pulse rifles really. So it works.
Just want to say, the only word that registered that whole sentence was cannon, to which my brain then immediately thought, "Bitches love cannons."
Oh. I was really hoping it was going to go back to D&D.
Nah, even thinking about D&D, no, it doesn't connect at all.
It's the
Okay,
ships,
well,
man. The ships. Well,
I mean,
it's only one
like
ship.
I'm still just thinking to myself like, and I know it's because of just like the story. If you had let Alfred choose to stay, he would have stayed. He would have fought those ships. Like maybe he wouldn't have been able to hurt the people on the ship very much, but he would have been able to hurt the ship itself, and then they have to swim. That is 100% what he would have done. He would have just taken out the ships.
Well, I'll just say this. Have you ever seen piranhas in action?
What in action?
Piranhas.
No. What the hell's a piranha? Piranhas?
Fish.
The fish.
Okay, so it's fish. Oh right, I forgot they're shark. They were sharks, weren't they? They were fisherman pirates.
Let's just say they don't need a boat.
Fair enough. Fair play. Then,
So,
wait, hold on. Let's examine this for a moment. If they didn't need a boat, then why did they have a boat? Like, what's the point of that? At that point,
think about their leader, Will.
is the leader human?
Finn Tim Gilbert.
Oh, No. Okay, so Finn, fishman.
So, what has his personality been like?
Loud, over the top, generally an asshole, needs his teeth kicked in.
Well, what do you think he would be subtle about traveling the waters then?
So basically, what you're saying is that the reason they have ships in the first place isn't because they need them, but because they want to be extra. Like, like Darth Vader never sitting down in his starfighter, but always standing on top of it. Level of extra. What's funny to me as well is that's now just like a feature of Darth Vader that he doesn't ever sit down. He's always standing, even when he's on a ship. He just stands on the back of it.
It's great.
But yeah, so you know what it means though. So you've done something you don't realize yet. Cody will agree with me whenever if and when he hears about it.
Well,
Is that basically, if that is the case, Finn Tim is basically just a JoJo character.
I mean, when it comes to zombie working with a character, it's more than likely it's going to be over the top and ridiculous.
I mean, probably.
But yeah, and my mind just connected the dots to what you were saying there, Squid, and that was one of the funniest lines in that movie. Yeah.
But I'm thinking now about the way that I do my character. For the one iteration we had, my characters were all really subtle. Like in any D&D game I've done, my character is never really an overbearing or like loud individual. That being said, Alfred is probably the loudest.
I mean, but the thing is, when it comes to Alfred, it's the whole setup is you have a character that doesn't speak, and then you have the character that does all the speaking. So
yeah, it's basically
it would only be natural that it all goes into him.
It's R2 and 3PO. R2 can't talk, but has all the most important things to say. C-3PO can talk and doesn't ever say anything important.
I love that moment in Rise of Skywalker. Well,
Which
like,
the one where it's like the one time when
desert.
you talk and you can't speak.
It was like at the like when they arrive at the festival and just like, what luck! This only occurs every 42 years. It's known for its vibrant kites and fireworks, and then they just all look at him, and then he just turns around and is just like, what are you looking at?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't understand that. I was like, why were they just looking at him?
It's because he had all this information about the most random festival in the galaxy.
Oh, I see. It's like he had just like completely useless information and a lot of it. Okay.
It was
Like honestly, I'll be honest. I feel like that could have made a little bit clearer by just somebody going like, "Why do you know this?" and then just like kind of leaving it at that. But no, it's like it's like, why are they giving this a weird look? I mean, he's a protocol. It's kind of his job to do this stuff.
But it's still like, why?
I mean, I get it now, but I definitely didn't get it upon viewing.
Well, we've gotten there now.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I will say that is a little bit odd to me is how perfectly the old characters meshed with the new characters. Like, and not so much in that they suddenly were like really a good dynamic, but the fact that they just were like, "Oh, hello, I see you're the protagonist now. I'll be your friend." Like that was a little odd. And like the best example is easily with C-3PO. Where like he basically just was like, "Oh, I guess you're new Leia. I guess you're new Han."
Yeah.
Spoiler?
Not quite. And I will
No, I
say
mean,
Ken
really
has
not.
seen it yet. So it is. So he's still in spoiler territory.
I don't care if I get spoiled. It's Star Wars.
But
I mean, I'm certain by now somebody's already spoiled the most important parts anyway.
But You ready, kid?
Yeah. I got me my post raffle. I'm good.
But definitely, like, the best thing I can think of for that regard is, and it wasn't even like the most recent one. It was in like the second one, I think, where no, it was the first one. It was literally in the very first one, where C-3PO kind of just calls BB-8 to follow him, and it is almost an exact, like, it's almost exactly the same as the way he would just call Archie. Like, come on, Archie, let's go. And that was kind of weird to me.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
with
d-
BB-8, he's been in the Resistance for a while, so they would have
I mean,
been known. They would have
okay,
known
that
each
makes
other
sense.
because
That actually
that's
does make
Poe's
sense.
droid, and Poe, is really close to Leia.
You know, I in everything, I forgot that the that there are three main characters. Only two of them were new to the Resistance. That's a good point, Zombie.
Zombie has his moments.
Which also makes sense as well because I mentioned that like it was weird how he so easily meshed with them, and now I'm realizing, oh, it's like he mostly meshed with Poe, which he probably just knew him.
Yep.
Okay, I changed my mind. It's like, yeah, no, it's like Poe is just like a dude he knows.
Poe is my favorite character of the new trilogy, and so like this last one was like I know I've said this to you before, Will, but it's just like
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this last film because it's just like, hey, here's Poe. He's a main character.
yeah,
We're
no,
giving
like
him
he was
all
kind
the
of.
cool lines.
It's actually bizarre. He was, despite being one of the trio, I guess you would call it. It's a bit hard to say exactly who the main characters were. Definitely Poe is one of them. But they never.
Yeah.
They kind of. It's almost like they were. It's almost like they were challenging the way a main character works.
Mm.
But definitely in the first two movies, Poe was. He was in a weird state of simultaneously being a main character and just a complete side character.
Yeah. It was just, I mean, in the first movie, you can give him the break because, like like when they crashed on Jakku, he
Yeah,
was
it was
supposed
a
to
big. It was a
die.
big
He
part. Is
was
that he
supposed to
was.
die,
Yeah,
and then J.J.
like it was that
Abrams
actually
was
was
like,
thinking
"I
like.
like you."
Hmm.
So
But
I mean,
honestly,
but
Star in these movies they kind of sidelined a lot of the characters.
he did.
Like they really sidelined everyone in favor of Rey and Ren. Everyone else got very much sidelined, except for Luke. Luke was pretty exempt from that.
Yeah, they just made him angry.
Yeah, like I actually say my favorite character in that was actually just Luke. Not because I'm like, oh, I love Luke Skywalker, but just because I love old, pissed off Luke Skywalker.
Hmm.
I like him as an old man more than I ever liked him as like a Jedi Master. Like he turned into exactly the kind of old man that I hoped he would turn into eventually. I mean, honestly, they all kind of did. Like all of them as old people were exactly the kind of old people that I would hope they were. Luke being this kind of surly, salty old man. Han being, just kind of like generally pissed, but also like very kind of weirdly affectionate.
It's
Leia
like
being
the grandpa
essentially
who
just
doesn't like
Leia.
anyone, just like, I think I might
Yeah,
like this
like
one
probably
kid.
the best part I think just like it's just him being like, well, what are you gonna do if you get captured or something? It's like, oh, it's okay, we'll just use the Force. That's not how it works. You've heard my theory that in reality, that's exactly how it works in Star Wars.
I mean, you have the guy who's just like, I'm one with the Force is with me, I'm one with the Force.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's
he's
like,
like, no
like,
shot, not
at
a
this point,
single shot hits him.
Also, what's more is that like the Force, I initially was like, oh, it's the Force. It's like telekinesis and protection of the universe. And then when I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's called the Force just for short for brevity. But in reality, what it's really referred to is there's this mysterious force throughout the universe that calls and dictates everything that happens to us. And the only thing is like, hold on. And then
I
just
wonder who that
everything
could
else
be.
is like, okay, so the Force is basically just the writers. That's the
Yeah.
Force. If in a similar situation you had somebody looking at a rock hard enough, and the rider's like, "You can smell." The rock starts levitating, and the person's like, "I'm lifting the rock." The rider's like, "Yeah, sure you are." So yeah, no, it's like, yeah, no. As far as I care, the Force at this point is literally just writers' influence to make whatever stuff they need to happen. And you notice the most Force-sensitive characters are almost always the main characters. And in fact, they are always the main characters.
Except for
One thing as well that I don't know if I ever talked to you about, but I feel like I might have, is that we've talked a few times about General Grievous. How
General
in
Kenobi.
in the first Clone Wars animation, he was like stupidly strong, he was terrifying, he was killing Jedi left and right. And yeah, it was just this nightmare. And then in Clone Wars, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run away for the 5th time this season. Darn you, Jedi!"
Just like trying
And
to
it's-
sound cool, and he's not at all cool.
I mean, also, he actually did sound cool even in retreat most of the time. But
He's
no,
like,
like,
I will
absolutely.
get my revenge, Master Jedi.
Yeah,
no.
Do you hear me?
Hey,
Yeah, he was
how you
real.
doing?
He was real extra. But that being said, though, and I was like, okay, so let's investigate this a little further because people always like, "Oh, he's so underpowered," and we also let's acknowledge we saw that he was defeated eventually by Kenobi. But also I looked into one point and I was like, okay, let's investigate this. Found out that you could count on one hand the number of Jedi that were in. Basically, here's the thing: take the Jedi in Clone Wars. Don't count the Jedi that were killed like immediately and were just completely destroyed for whatever reason. Count only the Jedi that actually came around and stuck around for any length of time. And most of these Jedi are ones we've seen at some point or fight General Grievous. Like I think we've seen obviously Obi-Wan, we've seen like Ahsoka and a few others. Now, how many of those Jedi were either Jedi Masters or were Padawans or otherwise apprentices of Jedi Masters? And you find there's less than like 3 Jedi in the entire show that weren't immediately killed that weren't Jedi Masters or their Padawan. And like, yeah, if you like try to name a single Jedi that wasn't a Master or a Padawan that was in the Clone Wars, and that wasn't just killed off immediately. Like Master Yugon Dai doesn't count because he died immediately.
I mean, but Master, You're Gonna Die is my favorite character, Will.
No, actually, I actually did like him. He was really cool. I will say, for a one-off Jedi, he was one of my favorites.
Are we being legitimate here, or
No, I liked him. He was actually really cool.
In that case, what's the identity of Master You're Gonna Die?
I mean,
know what
literally,
you're talking about.
no. Unfortunately, his name was actually Yoon Gon Dai. They called him Master Dai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like literally, I didn't even realize they called him Master Dai in the show. Apparently, his full name was Yoon Gon Dai. It was in his name that he was gonna die.
Oh, I never caught that.
I mean, to be fair, it's something you look over so easily because like they kind of do the thing where it's like, hey, this clone, Commander Weasley or whatever. Like you just kind of look over it. Unless the clone actually sticks around, you just kind of don't even notice.
Question: Do you remember Commander Doom?
No, I know of Caleb Doom.
Well, Commander Doom is a clone trooper and his whole model was like his design was inspired by Doctor Doom. And like I just recently found this out, and it showed the side by side, and he looks a lot like Doctor Doom.
See,
And it's the funniest thing.
I cannot even conjure up an image of this guy. I mean, also, to be fair, is like even one of apparently the bigger like clone generals that was around, aside from Cody and Rex. I didn't even realize. In this case, I'm talking about fucking. I don't know if he was a captain or commander, but Wolf.
Press on.
Oh, Commander Wolf.
Commander Wolf, yeah. Where I literally didn't ever notice him in any real capacity, except for like once. And I definitely didn't know that he was with Plo Koon, and he was basically Plo Koon's clone commander.
That's so. Oh, that's a fire dude.
Sounds
Okay,
bad.
he's not a fire dude. No, I needed that.
You needed what, zombie?
I needed that guy for a bounty. I'm trying to.
But yeah, so like literally, I didn't know that he was Plo Koon's clone commander until like ages later.
Still within reach.
It took me the longest time to realize that he was the clone trooper who got injured in the Malevolence arc.
Which one was that? I actually don't know.
That was like one of the first couple episodes. That was like the
Oh
first
right, you're
major-
talking. Yeah,
So
actually,
he
that's
was
the
in the
thing.
pod.
Even now, I still hardly believe that was Wolf. Because you're right, Wolf was in the pod for that Malevolence arc, wasn't he?
And then they got onto the Twilight, and he was tended to by a med droid because of his eye.
Yeah, except like I need to go back and rewatch that arc honestly because I physically don't know. Like I'm thinking he must have been like I kind of know who they are, but I cannot remember any of it. Like the clones were just nondescript standard rank and file clones, as far as I could tell there.
Yeah.
Opponent claims zone B.
That's my bubble, buddy. Well, it is my bubble, but this is my flag.
But then
Go
there are
back,
other
kid.
clones that very much did stick in my brain, like obviously Rex, Cody,
Captured zone A.
Gregor,
Yeah.
and one that was also was Fives, or the Fives and Echo, because those two had like their own overarching plot throughout the entire series.
Oh, the Citadel one hurt so bad. I can't tell you how angry I was after that episode.
Yeah. That being said,
Bad Batch.
Warlord, he's alive.
Yeah.
Echo lives.
No, they changed the episode. Like, they changed the twist. And they're like, hey, no. It's actually Fives.
I was over that one.
Hey, Sharp, how are you doing?
Oh man, you know what? One of the more bizarre things is to look back at the episode where it's like them in the Colin Academy being like, oh yeah, that's the one that got eaten by a worm. That's the one who blew himself up. Because like only 2 of them survived their first episode.
Yeah, that episode, because as you know, Zombie's the guy who likes all the red shirts. He's just like, this is Phil.
Yeah.
He's going to not be next. I like Phil. You shouldn't like. I like Phil. Zombie, you really should. I like Phil.
And then Phil dies.
No, he was my
I mean, I'm just
favorite
saying as well as like
character.
I don't think you would have even had a chance to get very attached to some of these characters. Like one of them named Droidbait. I actually had to look up which one he was in that arc because I don't remember him at all, and then I realized he was the one that got shot in the head immediately upon the droid's landing.
That was a hard episode.
Like I think the first time they said his name was after he was already dead.
Mm.
So, and then I think Cut Up was not far behind. And then obviously, Heavy was the one who, sacrificed himself and all that. And that just left Echo and Fives.
Fun fact: I have I actually have a Star Wars figure of Echo.
Oh, nice.
So, and it's from that episode. So it's before he gets all the fancy dancy.
Wait, hold
armor.
on. I mean, as in, like, you have a Lego figurine of Echo?
No,
Or, like,
No.
something else?
like one of the 3-inch figures.
Oh, you got, like, a big one. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would rather get it when... I would rather get Echo's thing, like, after. I think Echo's one with a handprint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, in that first episode, they really weren't very marked.
Well,
They were literally just clones.
in fairness, this was like before the later appearances too. This is like
Yeah.
this was just like after season 1 going into season 2, and I was just like, that's Echo. I want him.
Although I will say, one thing that was kind of bizarre to me that surprised me that I didn't notice. So I was thinking about it as well because in Rebel, Rex's helmet looks super weird to me, and I could never put my finger on why. Because then it was like, okay, it's supposed to be like a Phase 2 helmet, but why is it so weird? I literally found out earlier this week because I think that it somehow came up while I was like watching YouTube, and then I googled it afterwards. Rex had a custom helmet that he himself made. Like he didn't just his armor was changed to Phase 2. He then used parts of his Phase 1 helmet to build a new helmet that had Phase 2 pieces.
Yeah.
And I just never noticed. And it explains why. It explains why it looks so weird. And Rebels, because it's just like he had a weird helmet.
But it was neat.
I mean, it definitely was. It's a very unique helmet.
What's up, kid?
Mm.
Am I losing you?
Are you ready for some Pokemon?
Whenever I get my sleep schedule adjusted and can manage the Rylus.
Remember, zombie, feed them, cook them food. Look up ways to make them evolve faster.
Feed them other Pokemon.
Feed them. Feed them Adam's Pokemon. It's the only way.
That's one of the more bizarre things of like an in-universe thing that's actually pretty dark, is that in-universe they do eat Pokemon.
Yeah, like they'll kill like a milk tank to have like a hamburger.
Yeah. And it's like they just never acknowledge it. But it's most certainly what's happened. Or at least they never acknowledge as far as I know, but it's been confirmed. It's like, no, that's exactly what happens. No, I'm looking forward though to this new season of Star Wars. Just because it looks like it's gonna be the best one yet.
Sorry, what's up? No, sorry, I kind of blanked out on that. On the last thing you said.
I'm excited for this new season of Clone Wars because it looks like it's gonna be their best one yet.
Going out with a bang, like they should have.
I mean, yeah, and also the thing that I'm looking forward to, probably more than just about anything else, is the theory that they're actually going to show, they're not just going to, kind of be like, oh yeah, then we know what happens next. They're actually apparently going to show Order 66 happening.
Oh yeah, because that's part of the whole thing to explain what happened to Rex.
Yeah, it's 100% is that. There was some stuff happening there.
It's gonna hurt. It's going to be great because we get to see what it gets its proper send off, but it's also going to be like, oh no.
Well, I mean, we know that Rex doesn't follow Order 66, so we got that at least.
And I know how I know. Well, at least they might have changed it, but I know like at least how originally it was gonna be done.
What was that?
So, so like with what happens with Rex. So like I don't know if that's what they're going to do in the show exactly, or if they have something else. But because of course they put it out there like what the whole thing was going to be like long before.
I still have
all this.
no idea what you're trying to say, Tommy. Spit it out, man.
Basically, how they explain what happened with Rex and how he got away with not following 66 and got to.
Oh,
the
and then he
planet.
had he removed his inhibitor chip.
And like beyond just that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know what Pokepuffs are. They're sharp. So I don't know what that is, and I wouldn't feed the Rileys that because I don't know.
You gotta look it up.
No.
Best guess, though, honestly, is that because also a thing that came up was so I can understand how Rex might have known to take out his inhibitor chips, but how on earth did Gregor and Wolf know unless Rex specifically told them?
Well,
And then are they going to show that? So probably there's going to be a certain amount of being yeah, no, there's going to be Wolf and Gregor also hanging out for some reason or other.
yeah. I mean, technically, Wolf survives because that's Dave Filoni's favorite,
Really?
because Plo Koon's his favorite Jedi, and so
Oh, I
Wolf,
see.
yeah. So there's favoritism, and so fun
I mean,
fact in the
honestly,
Mandalorian.
There's a lot of favoritism throughout the Clone Wars.
But fun fact, Dave Filoni has a cameo appearance in the Mandalorian, and he goes by the call sign Wolf Trapper.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. So he's in episode 6 as one of the X-Wing pilots. The lead X-Wing pilot.
Oh, I see. Okay, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think I actually can remember that shot as well. I think I remember seeing him in that thing.
So I remember just seeing him just oh, that's Filoni! And then they called him Wolf Trapper. It's just oh, that is so not subtle. You sons of guns.
But he's oh my god, it's Filoni. And then you're oh god, it's Filoni.
No, it's just I like the I like that he got a name that connects directly back to the clone trooper he made for his Jedi. But okay, so they're cupcakes. Okay, thank you, Sharp. They will have all the cupcakes. But yeah, it definitely this season 7 was has basically been sneaking up on me because I didn't realize.
Yeah, it comes out it must come out in the next few days. Actually, now that I think about it.
So it's just oh no.
I mean, I meant to rewatch Clone Wars. I have not rewatched it yet. I'm because I'll tell you what it is. I kind of stopped watching right around the Mortis arc. That's where I fell off. Because it's such a dark arc. And while I like the dark bits in Clone Wars, I don't like the extremely dark bits.
I would really like the Mortis arc, well, because it has, of course, Starkiller voicing the son, and I like how they had Anakin be oh, I become Darth Vader. Oh no.
Yeah, he realized for a bit, which is a bit bizarre, honestly, that he sees himself as Darth Vader in the future, and then naturally he's oh, well, I better go full dark side in order to stop that from happening. You became the very thing that you were terrified of.
But, I mean, for Anakin, it does make sense that he would overcorrect.
I mean, kind of.
That's his whole dealio in Revenge of the Sith. He has an issue, and then he goes and very much overcorrects it.
Yeah.
So, but
I've been defended.
I mean, it's also one of those things where like
Zone B captured.
that I've seen before is like if Anakin had done
Zone A lost.
any number of things differently, most of which would have been like common sense type stuff, nothing would have happened the same.
Yeah. Like,
Like had he trusted Mace Windu, he wouldn't have gone to the dark side. Had he, told the council that he was, what was going on? Had he taken advice from Yoda, etc., etc.
yeah. Ooh. But, I mean, but that Mortis arc definitely one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorites. And it's just like, and I mean, because for me, I love thematics. And so, like, when it had the whole Darth Vader cloud, like, right behind him, it's just like, oh, that's so cool.
See, for me, I can't even really like put my finger on it, but just something about that arc,
Zone A lost.
and I really respect it. I just don't want to watch it. Like I'm happy to have seen it like once or twice.
But, let's see, where are you, bud? But,
Zone C captured.
trying to think. But definitely, out of everything, Darth Maul's my favorite. That
Oh yeah, no,
whole
Darth Maul is like probably the best villain in all of Star Wars. Like honestly, the only one who even comes close is Darth Vader. And the fact is, Darth Vader is literally enigmatic.
Like the whole Darth Maul Returns arc was done so perfectly.
It really was. And what's more is that like from an outside perspective, Darth Maul
Ooh.
suddenly being back makes no sense whatsoever.
I mean, it was funny to me because like there were people who had never watched Clone Wars and they got to Solo and they're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, it's a
What?
of what the fuck kind of moment. Like, why is he here again?
I mean, it's funny because like Ron Howard, right? So like he brought Ray Park back to do like basically to be the body of Darth Maul.
Yeah, they brought
And
back
then-
the actual
and-
body of Darth Maul, but then gave him the voice of new Darth Maul.
I mean, because it was someone else who voiced Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace as well. So it's just
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, he never said anything really. He said like one line.
it's like, but like
Zone A lost.
but basically,
The pendulum could swing.
it was just like he was going to be given his classic double blade, and like Sam Witwer was just like, actually, it's either
Yeah, like no,
it's
give him
either
his, give him his
this,
good stuff.
it's either this or the Dark Blade, and then Ron Howard was like, oh, please go on because I don't know this.
Really?
And so
See, I thought it was Dave Filoni that was like, no, man, you got to give him the right lightsaber.
I mean, I could be wrong about who said
think-
it, but I don't remember
I think
anything about Dave Filoni.
I
in
don't
my head.
know because like I seem to recall seeing both things being true. That it was him himself said like, no, man, we got that wrong, and then our guys being like, then Dave Filoni being like, no, it's got to be one of these two.
But like, but whatever the case, it's just kind of like
Yeah, that's
it's
weird. To me. Like
They didn't know
if
the
like if I like
lightsabers, so
I,
it's
it's
just,
weird
like,
to me
it's
that
interesting.
someone who doesn't like not only someone who doesn't like watch the shows apparently, but also somebody who isn't even up to date on the continuity of it is writing for that kind of stuff. That doesn't make any sense to me.
That their lead
I mean, there's a reason why they have a story group though within Lucasfilm, just to be like,
Yeah.
like they're the double checkers for all of it. So it's just like, so I mean, in a way, it's probably so that the filmmakers can go in, make the best movie that they can, and then be like, hey, does this look good? And they can be like, yeah, that works, or
Yeah.
unfortunately, you gotta change this.
Yeah, like I imagine there's a lot of times where they're like yo, let's have like a gambling type plan. They're like, hey, we've already got a few of those. Use this one. Just make sure you do it like this and don't do it like that.
Yeah. Like Canto Bite, you know.
Was Canto Bite ever like a thing anywhere else? Or were they just like
Canto-
turned over like, yeah, Tatooine's not a gambling plan. Don't even try it.
Well, no, Canto Bite was like they just made up a brand new place.
Uh,
Though, fun fact that I learned recently, remember the tiny little alien guy who got angry with BB-8 because he thought it was like some sort of slot thing.
I was just thinking about that little guy.
So that was played by Mark Hamill.
Really?
But the thing was, it wasn't just like vocal effects. Mark Hamill actually went into a mocap suit and actually beat on a giant motion capture BB-8.
My God. What the hell is... I can understand like him doing the motions, but he peed on a giant motion capture BB-8? Excuse? Excuse me? Want to run that by me again?
Well, I mean, it wasn't really a BB-8, but it was a giant ball.
No, a giant ball object is like a BB-8.
So it's just like the fact that they had Mark Hamill do that is just funny to me. And then of course
here's
you have the
thing
guy in the
that
beginning.
I suspect really happened. I suspect that Mark Hamill was like, "Hey, let me do this."
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, there was a character in the very beginning of Rise of Skywalker, where it's just like, "Hey, here's the thing for," and gave the info to Finn and Poe, and it's just like, "Hey, win the war for me." Like, Mark Hamill voiced that character, and it was just the voice work. No suit, no motion capture, no anything. He just voiced it. So, why they had him be motion capture for the other thing, don't know. But I just enjoy the idea of Mark Hamill having to do that. And I will say,
Well,
Sharp,
I'll tell you what,
apologies
honestly,
for not seeing who
and the
we're
fact
playing
is, in all
earlier,
honesty,
but
if Mark Hamill
you
didn't
know more
want
than
to
me.
do that, he wouldn't have done it. Plain and
Oh,
simple.
no.
Because like the fact is, they could not like it would not be worth paying Mark Hamill to do it, which means that they wouldn't suggest it. Which means that he probably was like, "Oh yeah, we're trying to get some money with this guy." Yeah, trying to do much like, "Hey, what are you mocapping? This guy, I want to do it."
30 seconds.
Like, it's just ridiculous to imagine it, but that's what makes it great.
We're winning. Barely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
No.
Get him, zombie. Get him.
Get him.
plenty of silliness.
Yeah.
Oh, like I say, why does that guy stick in my head?
What?
Because like for some reason, I knew immediately exactly the character you were talking about. The little green guy who burped at BB-8 and tried to put coins in it for some reason. It's a drunk little alien.
It was the first thing that popped in your head.
Like I was literally thinking about that alien as we were talking, because like I was remembering. Why is that alien so like stuck in memory? Of all the characters, why that guy?
I mean, he is the prelude to BB-8 shooting a bunch of guards with coins.
That's true. That is very true.
And
Is
it
that
was a pretty funny
BB-8 got
thing.
ammunition down.
And Benicio del Toro was like, oh, I need all those coins.
You know what's more? I think
Now
that
it's
guy
funny.
had like a solid 5 appearances over the course of like an hour.
I mean, he just kind of disappeared too. He's like, yep, here's your
I
coins.
mean, he really didn't. Like, I think that
But-
literally in every shot of the casino, he was there somewhere doing something.
Kagera, don't you dare leave me.
Because I'm pretty sure, because they had like a couple of shots specifically for him, where it was like him, you know, rolling in coins, and like like a machine got broken or something. And they also had him in the same shot as like those weird horse things jumping through the fucking window.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like he was one of the people at the bar.
I did
Like
not
the
notice
dude
that.
popped up a lot. And that's not even counting when he was, messing with BB-8.
I mean, it was, but definitely funny to watch. Funny to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, I personally love some of the cuter characters in Star Wars. Like, I'm not terribly fond of BB-8, but I really love Dio.
And that was the one, like, and as I've told you, it's just like going into the last couple films, just like they didn't get me with anything. They announced Dio was gonna be in it. Looked at him, was like, nah. Watch the movie. Oh my gosh, I need 20. I
Yeah,
currently
that was
have
exactly
two.
it. It was like, yeah, I'm not impressed with this, and then it was like, okay, I need more.
I have 2 out of the 20. I just need 18 more Dios and I'm good.
What's more is that like I 100% thought that it was spelled out like Dio, but in reality the droid was like D10 or something. No, it was just straight up Dio.
Yep.
That was just the droid's
D-0.
name.
Iron Banner.
Yeah, it was great. And of course he's voiced by J.J. Abrams.
Really, makes sense.
So,
I think I'm gonna fail this mission.
Prove you're ready for what comes.
Trying to do a defense mission with a frame that is not even remotely equipped for a defense mission.
you'll be fine.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be fine. Yeah, I could survive for hours. Problem is that the defense objective can't survive, and I need to protect this thing.
You'll be
It's already like half hard. I'm only on round 2. It needs to last 3 more rounds.
Kid Gamer.
Hmm.
I'm looking out the window and the world. It's not there. It's kind of there, but it's not there. I've discovered a glitch, Kid Gamer. I've actually discovered something.
Nah, I watched it been a thing the whole time.
Probably. But if you look out this window, the whole world outside will not be generated. Ooh! You stay away from Kid Gamer.
These unkillable turrets. I can understand they're attacking me, but they better not be attacking this damn objective.
Zone C captured. You have
Okay.
press on. The lead is yours.
I will say though, I am so incredibly excited for the new Lego Star Wars game. Like to the point where I'm considering breaking my using it. Like I want to pre-order it, so I can just have it immediately.
Zone C lost.
I mean, in a way, I feel like guess it's nice that it's going to be the entire saga. But for zombie, it's just kind of like I'm still kind of stuck on the original games where it's just like I want each saga, well, like just to have its own game. So like I would like episode 3 through 9, episode 7 through 9, and just have that be the game.
See,
I don't know.
I
It's
would
less
be
than a
kind of
bargain.
okay with it, but the fact is, honestly, at this point, it's a good time for a complete saga.
I'd like to test my might against another Titan like you.
Like it's just, like the timing works, and it looks like the game is gonna be good as well. Like from what I've seen, it looks like it is going to be the best Lego game that there's been.
Good.
Lego. Lego.
That being said, they're not having to beat very much when you look at like the Lego Force Awakens. That game was just trash.
Press on.
Zombie, I hate the thorn.
Sorry. Don't worry, I got him. I got him.
To me, I feel like Lego Batman was probably the best Lego games.
You know, unfortunately I still have not played 3, but Lego Batman 1, it was so good.
They're going to probably agree on the worst one, which I think would either be the Force Awakens or the Lego Harry Potter one.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter was just bad.
I enjoyed Harry Potter.
Well, then go play it.
I mean, I enjoyed it too, but it doesn't mean it was good. Like, they leaned way too hard into the whole puzzle aspect and didn't really understand how to do an open world Lego game yet. It was just bad.
I mean, No, for zombie, they all at least reach a baseline, and so I'm usually quite satisfied with all of them. I mean, that being said, the last one I got was
Nothing can stop.
Chase McCain for the Wii U. Oh no, that would be the 3DS prequel to Chase McCain.
I don't even remember that. Is that a later game?
Yeah, Chase McCain for the Wii U, and then the 3DS prequel.
Zone is lost.
And of course, like Zombie gets like continuity errors. Like really get to Zombie. Like when, like you know, like if you have like a cliffhanger to a TV show, and they're like, "Oh no, so and so is here, and this isn't good," and then they come back with the episode with the part 2 of it, and they're starting up from that point where so and so arrived, and just like instead of saying, "Oh no, so and so is here," they say, "So and so has arrived. We're screwed." It's just like, that's not what you said. You said something completely
So
different.
you don't like
I
it when they
can't-
react in two different ways depending on the episode.
It's like you either said one thing or you said the other, but you can't say two different things because that's
No,
not how things go.
I can agree with that to a certain degree, but the way that I kind of like to look at it, that kind of makes me feel a little bit more okay about it, is just the mental image of we saw somebody say in the first episode, and they just say it again in the second one. So like if you were just like watching the full scene, it would just be them saying the same or like a similar thing twice. Just like,
It's like mentally
oh no,
processing.
it's Voltor, and it's like, and then just like a beat passes like Voltor has arrived. Like, you alright there, buddy?
I don't know if you noticed, but I think we're being boarded by blah blah blah. Oh, that guy's shooting at me.
But yeah, so like, there's definitely a certain point where it's like, yeah, you just said that.
But like, no, what was that? Oh yes, but like so, and that like that type of discrepancy annoys me. I'm more okay with it nowadays because I just mentally choose which one. Just like he said this one, and I'm just pretending that's all he said. And so I'll just go with that. But like with the Chase McCain games, so Chase McCain, the premise, he left Lego City years ago to be in exile because he screwed up by revealing the identity of the key witness against this very big bad guy.
Mhm.
And so, and he had just stopped that bad guy in this very specific way.
Opponent claims zone B.
And so I played the Wii U game, beat it, and stopped that big bad guy again after it broke out and was trying to get revenge against the key witness.
Mm.
And so I then go play the prequel. And of course, it takes place when Chase was first going up against that big bad guy. And so you get to the end of the game, you stop him in a completely different way.
Oh,
And
I
like, you didn't stop him that way, Chase. You were supposed to stop him in this way, and then, but nope, they just completely had him do it a different way. And then, of course, but he still revealed the key witness's name by the end of it, and then went off to be in exile. So they kept that part right, but it's just like he didn't stop the big bad guy correctly.
that is bizarre, actually. Yeah.
I mean, it was a different company basically that made the game from the Wii U and versus like different companies that made the Wii U and 3DS games.
So essentially, they just were like, "Hey, this is the way we saw that happen."
So it's just like it's basically they saw the premise for the Wii U game. It's like, okay, he went into exile after stopping this guy and then revealed the key witness's name, and then that's all they knew, and then went off of that is how it felt like. And so they had no real correlation with each other. Didn't work just made 2 games that technically connected. But ooh, bad guy. Ow. All right, thanks for stopping by, Sharp. It's been great having you here.
Yeah, definitely, I'll say. Certain kind of... Oh, boy. There's a certain kind of shittiness about not being able to get your story straight. That a lot of things suffer from, like, really weird ways. Alright. Fuck you, Warframe. Didn't want to finish this fucking thing anyway.
Oh
Right, I hate this overly complex bullshit, Spiral. I don't care about the mission, I just want to get it out of my star chart.
no! Okay, sorry, bud, but you need to be out of my bubble. It's only one, but still.
But no, here's me though, really hoping though for the new Lego game, because like we're supposedly doing the entire Skyward Sword. Allegedly, there's a distinct possibility for Clone Wars DLC as well as Mandalorian DLC,
Ooh.
which is one of the few times that I'm like, you know what, bring on the DLC. I want it.
I want it bad.
And if we don't get DLC, you can bet there's gonna be like a secret character.
Just give me Star Killer and I'm happy. It's the only character I
Dude.
worked for in the Clone Wars Lego Star Wars game, and I was happy. I played the level I did not want to play again because that's the level I had to get all the thingamabobs in order to unlock them.
Also,
played
I will
the
say
heck out
apparently,
of that level, Will. The
I've
heck
seen
out
as
of it.
well, interestingly enough, that there was they're apparently going to be changing up the combat system pretty dramatically. Or like, there's not going to be kind of the original thing where it's basically you point them in the direction and you press a button, you shoot vaguely at whatever. Like, they're actually making it kind of an over-the-shoulder type thing for the characters. So from the sound of it, everything I've seen shows that like it's actually going to be really good. I just wonder how it's going to turn out. Because like the biggest detail is essentially that it'll be a combat system more like an actual combat system instead of a you press a button and you swing a weapon. Which also probably means that various characters, namely like Jedi and other things, are going to actually have specific playstyles rather than the kind of brute force button mash technique.
That's Zombie's favorite technique.
I mean, yeah. But you can't have that. Because it's old. Kind of outdated, really.
Like Zombie.
I mean,
not even wanting to touch that comment.
I'm just thinking about like, you said it, man. Oh. I hate this. I'm trying to do like a stealth mission type thing, except there are bloody cameras absolutely everywhere. Cool. And laser mines everywhere else, apparently.
Iron Banner.
Cool. Bollocks. Die. You didn't see anything. Oh, I hate those. Oh my god, I hate this entire thing.
Your metal will be tested,
You
Guardian.
don't see me?
Begin.
You're right, I can't see you.
Good. Perfect.
Opponent claims zone C.
Fuck. Why?
Zone A.
Why is there literally a camera pointed at the terminal I need?
Captured. Zone advantage is yours.
Oh, you fuckers. Now that's something that really annoys me. Oh, shit. Oh,
You okay?
Zone B.
yeah, but only by the skin of my fucking teeth. I don't like that. Oh boy, wow, that is not great of them to have done. That is super difficult. Basically, I needed to open a door in order to I need to hack a terminal and get to it. But in this particular tile set, apparently they like the idea of being like, hey, so you're probably strong enough to take the attacks of these turrets that will be deployed whenever you hack a terminal. But guess what you can't take? The fact that the turrets push you away from the terminal
Advantage is
Oh
yours.
no.
and reset the hacking attempts. Yeesh. That's not okay. Also, they literally had cameras that would trigger said turrets pointed at the terminals. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. Do they
I think-
expect me to have like an instant use item or something?
Well, I mean, if okay, we got a bogey. We have a bogey. Oh, there's another one. There's another. Ooh. You saved my life, good gamer. Well, you see, Will, if you're trying to hack something, you're trying to make sure you don't hack that something.
Yeah. Also, it's a video game. It's supposed to be possible to hack that something.
No, this is real life video game.
I'll say that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves
Zone C captured.
is when, and you hear this a lot with a lot of people who defend games like Rainbow Six especially, where it's like, oh, but it's realistic.
Your lead has grown, but don't let up.
It's like, yeah, realistic, but not fun or enjoyable. Congratulations.
I mean, Zombie loves Rainbow Six, but I will say, when it comes to saying it's realistic, that's kind of gone out the door with, well, we'll use Lion as our example of the day.
Captured zone A.
One of my favorite memes about him is inserting him into the poster for the day the Earth stood still.
Zone advantage is
The
yours.
thing? I do not know who this guy is.
Basically, he has a drone that hovers over the map if he's played. He can activate it 3 times, and it will make a mini earthquake so it can figure out how many people are in the building.
Now that's bizarre.
So, the only way to avoid being detected
Opponent
is to not move.
B.
Uh-huh.
So, the day the Earth stood still.
Oh, I see. Makes sense. Weird, but it makes sense.
But it's just like, yeah, that's totally realistic because, you know, the government has the mini earthquake drones.
I mean, like, I kind of understand the concept, but the thing is, if that was an actual concept, it probably wouldn't matter if you moved or not. Like, there's less high-tech ways of detecting movement. But the biggest thing that I see is always along the lines of, like, oh, you get killed instantly by bullets. And it's like, yeah, it's realistic, you see. Because in real life, a single bullet will kill you. And it's like, yeah, but that's not fun.
Zone C lost.
And then they just say, it's realistic, though. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't mean it's fun. Like, for me, realism most often means not fun. Like, I mean, I'm like, a couple, like, I know that Elite Dangerous is also, like, a really good example of that. Where it's like, oh, it's realistic, though. You're not always heroes. Yeah, but it's not fun.
Zone
Like, it's not really an enjoyable experience to be, you know, a standard freighter. That's kind of interesting thing. Like, a lot of people are like, yeah, but what's up with realistic?
Oh, run,
Yeah.
kid! Run! Oh, no! Oh, no, you can have that flag. Just don't murder me. Oh, you're gonna murder me. Oh, no! Oh no!
Zone advantage.
Just
Yours.
murder me.
Lost.
Don't worry, I just told mom and dad, and they took care of it.
All right.
Uh, uh, but yeah, that was horrifying. I just realized there was a blade dancer. Well, not really blade dancer. It's a staff now, but it was just chased me from A flag to C flag.
Hmm.
Zone B lost.
But yeah.
Zone A captured. 2 zones are yours.
But no.
I
So
mean,
whenever
I
I see a
enjoy
game though, whenever I see a game that like touts its realism, like before it touts anything else, I immediately just think like, okay, I'm not gonna like that game.
I mean, it comes down to personal preferences.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, because I myself am a huge fan of Rainbow Six, especially for the realistic gameplay. I mean, I think it also comes down to the fact that Zombie is quote unquote question mark maybe better when it comes to essentially you both have one chance to get it right.
Turn to the
Mm.
So even though typically people survive, but I mean, for me it's
pressure and you have
it's a lot more fun
Zone A. Opponent
because it's just like I know that even though I have a high chance of messing up, I can still do good, and I've had my great moments because of that. I mean, and of course it doesn't like it helps when I have a Batman-like character whose whole shtick is to not murder, but interrogate the other players basically. So you know that's always fun. Oh no! Oh no! I ran out of bullets. But you know, that being said, I end up getting overzealous and kill my prey anyway.
Mm.
But you know, it's still fun. It's still a fun game. And then
Yeah.
of course, one of my most favorite moments is just like randomly shooting through a window as the round began, and then getting the kill feed activating, and be like, oh no.
Hmm.
Oh no, it was a random shot. I look like a hacker now.
But anyway, so like, but no, it's like for me, being realistic, unless it's an enjoyable game, is not something I care about at all. And like, I will say, Rainbow Six, it's got the community, so I got to give it some kind of acknowledgement that they did something right. But
Yeah.
but I kind of get at that was that like that's just not something enjoyable to me. Like the fact is, the most enjoyable parts of games to me were the bits that weren't realistic, the bits that were ridiculous or like kind of fantastical kind of thing.
The zombies.
Yeah, like Call of Duty Zombies mode. That was always the most fun to me. Because it was like it's like one of those things where it's like, what the hell is going on here? It's definitely not realistic, not in any capacity. But look at how cool it is.
Extinction mode on ghosts. That's my favorite. Like, I mean, they were like, "Hey, it's aliens," and then they were like, "No, not aliens.
Yeah, they just
Prehistoric
kind of
creatures."
they
But
kind of got weird
that
about
was
it. It's
kinda
like,
cool.
hey, so it's aliens. Like, it's not aliens, but it's aliens.
I mean, I embraced it even more so after that, but it became a thing where I was just like, people would be like, "Hey, aliens." I'm like, "No, cryptids." I like
Well,
saying
that's
cryptids.
kind of become
I like
a
saying more.
kind of whole thing. I think that Doctor Who really made big was basically it's never actually alien or it's never actually monsters. It's always aliens. Or like vampires are actually blood-sucking aliens, or werewolves are actually an alien thing. etc., etc. It's like, oh, all these
Yeah.
weird things, they're aliens.
The
But I guess actually the inversion of what you're talking about, but still.
But I definitely like saying cryptids more than aliens because it's
Hmm.
just cool to say cryptids. Plus,
Cryptids is an interesting
when you
word.
have angry telepathic Squidwards that come to attack you by the last DLC, it's kind of like you reach a level of ridiculous that's just too great to
Hmm.
pass up. Literally,
I mean,
just
see, personally,
floating
probably
telepathic Squidwards, man. It was
probably one of the things that I saw that I kind of wish that I had a chance to play. I don't know what it was on, but it was like zombies. But it was like it was like before we got like the newest version of zombies. We were kind of still getting there, but essentially it was like you were a bunch of fucking kids at like a summer camp or something. I say kid, they're actually like teenagers or young adults or something. But what I'm getting at though is that it was like a summer camp type thing, and and instead of dogs, they had like Bigfoot, like Sasquatches that would attack them, and just
Ooh.
the entire setting was so ridiculous that it was amazing. And just stuff
Ah,
like that, where it's like that was just really silly, and it was good.
Kid gamer. Kid gamer? No, no. That's not a good sign.
Mhm.
I was just gonna try to bring up the Kraken. Another thing from Extinction. Fun fact: the Kraken was actually a cryptid, but there's a whole. Oh, there's that's the one. That's the one story mission Kid and I can't beat for the life of us, and there's oof, just stories of that. There's stories of that, and I will say
Yeah.
it's what like so there was a major glitch with it where like you were able to get like the like the regular enemies like to spawn on the back half of the boat when you get to the front half, and so
Mm.
you can have the boss battle in peace basically. And so
Yeah.
Kid and I played Extinction on the hardest difficulty. Oh,
No,
there he goes.
there goes good.
And so we played it on the hardest difficulty and actually beat it without using the glitch, and we got the
Hmm.
trophy.
Brightly in you all.
But apparently, Infinity Ward was they were like, hey, or maybe it would have been Sony, but like one of them, or maybe both together, were like, hey, there's too many people getting this trophy with the glitch, and they just completely took it away.
Opponent took
Really, that's why would they even?
Because it was glitched, and it's just like one of those things that was like infuriating because the one time we did it right, they're like, no. I'm good.
Remarkably
system.
shitty.
You're pulling ahead. Zone A captured. You have the advantage. Press on.
But it's a lot of good stories though with Extinction. A lot of good stories. Like I will say, there's like so you could have these things called relics, right? Basically, there was 20 of them, and like each would like, and you could challenge yourself basically to beat a game with one of those enabled. And so of course then you'd be like bragging rights.
Yours.
Sorry. But yeah, so bragging rights. You get a trophy if you complete a match with 10. And of course, like the more you add, of course, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I went for all 20.
Yeesh.
and Kid and I were incredibly great at the game where we basically were able to brag that like, hey, you put us with 2 people, we'll carry those 2 people to the end. It was a guaranteed victory.
Zone A lost.
Like, and that was if we had everyone. We didn't have all 4 slots maxed out. We had Adam with us, and Adam is great in his own right. And so, if we had him with us, we were guaranteed to complete all the in-game challenges. You complete challenges, you get skill points. Skill points you use to upgrade your stuff in the game. You do better. But so it was just the 3 of us, and they had to carry Zombie, who was effectively just dead weight because he couldn't do anything. I couldn't run. I walked slower. I had next to nothing for ammo. I couldn't use any other weapons than the starter pistol. It was a whole thing. I was just there. And they this was on PS3. And back then the people on PS3, most of the people we had added from that game were good. So basically, one of our friends joined us, and so towards the end, and I get to brag now about completing it with 20 relics, because that guy not only saved Kid and I, but it's because of him that I was actually able to escape at the end, because the whole thing is you go in, you get to the main hive, and you set off a nuke and you get the heck out.
I see.
And so you don't have to, if someone goes down, you can leave them. And if it was just Kid and Adam to get to completion, it would have just been them. But because of our friend, we had just enough manpower to go back, pick me up, and escort me to the hive, and to the helicopter. And I will say, when you're escaping, all bleep breaks loose.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's throwing everything at that point, just hey, you are not going to escape. And it's just no. So, it was hard. It was hard, but I escaped, and it was just it's great. So I know that I would never have gotten it if it weren't for all of them. But for anyone who just comes in and just wait, he escaped with 20 relics, they don't know the story behind those 20 relics. They just oh my gosh, he actually made it out. That overachiever. So,
So they just assume that you glitched it, even though it's no, I didn't.
You captured Zone C.
well, not glitched it, but just they might.
Zone B lost.
I mean, it's either. I mean, they might think that, but for Zombie, it's just there's a chance that they might think that Zombie's good enough
You have the advantage. Press on.
to go in with all 20. And Zombie's
Yeah.
not. But
Although,
it's just
I'm
one
sure
of those
this reminded
things to
you-
be hey, look at that.
I'll admit that this has reminded me as well of a system in Halo with the skulls and all that. I think it's kind of similar. And all I can think about is that they actually have released the Master Chief Collection on PC that I haven't bought yet, but I want to. Because I haven't played Halo in literal years, and I would love to be able to play it again. Except the obvious problem being that it's Xbox only, and I don't have Xbox.
The howls are quiet. Return to the fight.
Well, I mean, X series is on its way out, so
Yeah, no, I want xCloud. That's what I want it to be out already. I would use it.
but I will say, you get the Master Chief Collection, you let me know because Zombie has that.
Like on Xbox?
Uh huh. So.
Hmm.
Oh, that's the bad guy.
Jesus Christ, man.
Look, when you're just walking and then realize you're not, you just stopped walking and then you see a head of somebody go by your screen, you're just like, what?
It's like, hey, buddy, what you doing?
Oh,
That being said, actually, I'm pretty sure that Xbox has cross compatibility. So if I got it on PC, it'd probably be able to play with you on Xbox.
yeah.
Like, there's a pretty good chance of that being entirely possible. That being said, the entire collection is not actually released. It says Master Chief Collection is released, but really it's just Reach.
Reach.
Yeah,
Just Reach on that?
Yeah,
for
Halo Reach.
multiplayer?
I don't know.
Because I didn't realize Reach was in there, and I got Reach separately for Xbox 360 because backwards compatibility.
Isn't the whole point though of Master Chief Collection that it's literally all of the Halo games?
Everything before, well, I thought it was just like Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I mean, I thought it was everything.
Well,
Because I know that at least in the PC version, ODST, while not there yet, is apparently going to be released, as well as Reach, which is already released. And as it was, Reach was actually the only one that I ever played. Like, I played Halo 4 and Halo Reach, and that was it. I was always really annoyed that I never actually got the chance to play Halo 3 because I heard that was like the best one.
Zombie's completely squandered his ability to play it because I just
What,
haven't
Halo 3?
even played- like to play any of the Master Chief Collection. I
Ah,
haven't even
What's
started
that?
one.
yeesh.
Want to, but just no time. But with recorded content nearing its hiatus, I should have a lot more time. I
Okay.
say that, but right after that, I'm going to be like, license, go!
Hmm.
And then I'm hopefully going to get my license.
Nice. Yeah, definitely the sooner you get a license, the better, because they would mean that you can start doing a lot more.
I could drive myself to the comic shop once a month.
Yeah.
Granted, I already drive myself there. But of course my dad's in the car. I'm backing out for you, kid. I'm backing out.
I'm done
Okay. I still back
because
out
I
for you though.
can't because I can't stay awake.
I see.
No, though before you leave, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I bring up the Kraken from Extinction?
The what?
The Kraken from
Kraken.
Extinction. The boat. The big thing from the impossible level. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Get the fuck out of Dodge.
All right. Thank you. That honestly does describe it perfectly.
Just fucking run.
It's a bad level, man. It's like the hardest thing. It's like there's a reason why every other time except for that one time we use that glitch for the victory because we got lucky that we found two people who were expert pros. They were just
Yeah.
like, hey, we can do this thing. And so we were able to do that.
That's the thing. There's a certain level of pro where it's like they're so good at the game they can they can basically solo things that are supposed to take like multiple people to do.
Yeah, and then they're definitely those types of people that could probably like do the first extinction mission and maybe Nightfall by themselves. But
I mean, like I know there's a lot of those kind of players in Warframe, including me, as it were. With like me, I can solo most in-game content at my peak power levels.
zombie. Oh, I need to. Okay, I got enough people with the Crimson. I just actually need to go after people with the Super. Oh. Come on, Lord Saladin. I just want to complete this thing so I can be like, hey, I don't have to do this thing anymore and I can go back to doing other things again. But I'm going to check my Postmaster on the app and just see what's there because I need to know if I can level up any. No level up there. No level up there. No level up there. Wait. Good gamer.
Hmm.
There are better boots.
You got better boots?
My superpowers return to me. By the way, Will. There's a whole thing with boots. With me in Destiny.
Yeah? Do boots never drop?
No. They always drop.
Oh, I see. So you've got like the best shoes around, but everything else sucks.
I have a walk-in closet dedicated to boots. Since Destiny 1. Like, that was the thing, right? So, Destiny 1, you have the second micro DLC that drops, House of Wolves. The new thing is the Prison of Elders. And so, you have to level up, of course, for the new level cap. And so, but when the first thing you do upon weekly refresh, you do the challenge of Elders. And the challenge will give you one higher level armor piece.
Did you get boots every time?
Week after week, I would go to Varix and be like, hey, here's the challenge completed. What do I get? And he'd be like, you get boots. And,
That is rough.
And so, Zombie would freak out a lot. There'd be a lot of yelling. A lot of repeating of boots.
Just cut to zombie crying in a bathtub.
Just murmuring about boots.
Yeah.
So, you know. That was 2015, early 2015. That was where I was. Oof.
Yeah, that is definitely when RNG screws you on something that is time gated, it's just a nightmare.
And
It's like,
so,
well, I guess I just won't play the game and do the things that I need to do then.
oh, back then, Will. That was when Zombie only played Destiny 2. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it worse, not better.
So it was just like I would be stuck there just doing the same 20 things over and over again while I waited for the next week to be like, hey, what do I get this week? And then Varys would be like, you get boots.
I mean, I'll be honest, probably time gated like mission rewards is one of my least favorite things, especially when you can only get the rewards from that one thing.
Whew. It was oof. Man, it was so much oof. And it was not enjoyable. I mean,
That it wasn't.
Granted, then Destiny 1 came, Destiny 1, Destiny 2 came out, and I realized there was a weird infusion mechanic where if you infuse something like so you would have your good, like, your favorite armor piece, but it's now lower than your best piece. You'd put in your best piece, and more times than not, it would put it at a level higher than what the best piece was, and it would regularly do that with boots. So it's just like, I'm now one with the boots.
Basically, the boots have become your strength. Also, I just want to say, yeah, I thought you were leaving because you had to go to sleep, man. What's going on?
He's falling asleep here.
Oh, alright then.
All right, well, I'm going. All right, talk to you later.
Alright, bye.
Thanks for playing, kid. Oh.
I didn't mean to drive him away, but it was like I could hear him falling asleep.
He wanted
Like-
to participate, and I was just trying to be funny about it, and I feel bad because of how fast that reaction was.
I mean, I feel kind of bad because I'm like 90% certain the reason he didn't say like a word was because I was just here talking. Like he did that thing that people sometimes do where like it's like, I don't really know this guy, so I'm just not going to say anything.
Like, I don't feel like that's what happened. There was very much because I've been editing like videos, a string of recordings from Extinction that Kid and I made for Out of Town. And so there's a lot of, I've noticed into the middle of it, there's a lot of us playing, but of a lot of us not talking, and it's just because we're going in and we're doing what we're supposed to do in the game. So
Oh, I see. You kind of do the thing where it's like you either don't talk at all or you just talk about game stuff.
yeah, so it's just like we're just like, all right, we're doing it, and then every so often we'll basically have a flashback joke because so you have the big rhinos, we call them big boys, and so just like, there's a big boy, and then
I will say
it's just like stuff like that.
That kind of thing does happen sometimes, where like and especially in games like Destiny, where it's like the game kind of dominates whatever you're doing. You kind of like when you're with somebody, the stuff happening is the stuff you naturally want to talk about. It's kind of like, if you're at a football game talking to somebody, you're going to talk about a football game most likely. Like even somebody who doesn't give a shit about football, or let's say hockey, because you know how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to talk about whatever's going on in the hockey game.
Yeah, fun fact: the Spurs sold the Rampage, so hockey no anymore after this season. So
Oh,
it's
alright.
not. It's kind of rough patch right now.
Hit a sore spot apparently.
I just had to mention it because I'm not coping well.
Yeesh.
Anyways,
I mean, can't you just watch YouTube videos of random dudes beating the crap out of each other in Canada? That should get most of your bases.
But the thing is, well, I'm not like most hockey fans. I don't go for the hockey.
Oh
fights.
right, you don't go for violence, you go for the rest of it.
I go, yeah, for everything else.
Oh, you poor soul. You're a minority.
I mean, I'm used to it by now because I like Call of Duty Ghosts, and then most people who play Call of Duty is like, I don't like that one. It's like, oh,
Well, that's the thing as well is like there are some game series where it's kind of like that. Like I imagine, for instance, a good example is BioShock. There's 3 BioShock games. 1 and 2 are loved by about half the community. 3 is loved by the other half. The people who love whatever half invariably hate the other half. Because they're just 2 completely different games, essentially. You got BioShock 1 and 2, they're like kind of survival horror games. Then BioShock 3, which is kind of like this really bright, kind of futury, kind of quirky setting. Same world, but different tone, and to a huge degree.
Mm.
And so, like, honestly, I played through a little bit of 1, didn't like it at all. And I feel like if I ever actually went and played 3, I'd probably love it. I just never got to because I got other things to do.
Yeah. You got life to live.
Yeah, not to mention just other fucking games, other
And you
games that
got
I know I
life to
enjoy. So fucking life is kicking the shit out of me at the moment.
live.
Like
Hey,
I
kid.
don't.
He's
Did
in the
that?
comment section.
Oh, I see. But no, 'cause, like I am not able to get a break from homework for like a single day. Because like I mentioned, because like right now I'm having to read a chapter a day for my political science class. By the way, these chapters, they're dense and they're long. They're real rough.
Oh no.
And as I saw today, even with copious amounts of study, I spent 2 hours studying. After reading all the chapters, I spent 2 hours studying. And you know how sometimes while studying, you might like there's just so much information that you kind of like you might get cut a corner, whether it be on purpose or just completely accidental. Well, I cut a corner, and turns out that corner was like the tip of the pyramid, and it was the most important part of the test.
Oh no.
Like half a dozen court cases were the only thing that I hadn't studied like meticulously, and that was 90% of the test.
Oh no.
So I realized, well, like I was about half the like I'm not passing this one. There's no way. Also, what's more is I did that thing that you see in tests a lot of times. It's like, oh, date. What was the implications of this and that? It's like, and like I don't know. I know they all did stuff, but I can't. There's so because like pretty much political science in the book that we read is basically every chapter is an info dump, like in the extreme.
Hmm.
So like after a while, after they throw like 20 names at you, you just kind of tone it out and try to focus on politics. So it's difficult, and that first test is that if I had studied that one corner that I missed, which was these court cases, I would have probably gotten a B. But instead I got a D. I got a 66. I was two wrong questions short of having a grade that I would have at least accepted.
Ugh. It just hurts.
Yeah. That was a second test I had to do today. I had to do a test that I had to wake up early for in art history. In which, by the way, it was a 50-question test, much like the one that I had for political science, but this one also included a written essay portion. So I had to write an essay and do two 50-question multiple choice tests.
That makes somebody just want to collapse into. We'll just go into a corner because I remember the essay questions from tests and no, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Oh, well,
Yeah.
it bugs me too, like to no end, because like there was like this one. It was like one of those extra like it was just you needed to get extra credit, so it's just like here's your electives, and so it's just like I took this one, like learning and thinking, like thinking and learning strategies, right? So it's just like okay, because like it's just like okay, that would be a good one for college prep. And it just ended up being a mosh pit of random subjects.
That's not good.
And it takes me off with one of them because it's just like, hey, so here's a whole math thing, and we're going to have it be about golf. Zombie knows nothing about golf.
Hmm.
And so they're like, hey, so person A scores, like, it was like something to do with scoring, and so like Zombie didn't know how, like, knew there was something weird about golf scoring, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know at that
All I know
time
is
what
you
that
want to get.
was, so it was just like I was doomed because it's just like 18. No, it was 9. Oh,
I mean,
son! Minus!
honestly, electives were really a hit or a miss class in high school because either they were really useful or enjoyable, or they just were useless entirely. For example, in I can't remember if it was high school, so I want to say it was high school. I had a teacher for class that basically acted like I don't even remember what her class was called, but in effect, it was a maturity class. That's what it was. She taught about like kind of she talked a lot about like emotions and kind of mentalities, especially around more, 16 and up type emotions that were going on. A lot of puberty type stuff was discussed in that class. It was a really awesome class. Like tons of useful tidbits. Like in that, and basically like a lot of life lessons in that class. I think I ended up taking her class twice, just by complete mistake. And also, what's more is that she also was one of those teachers who mostly just played movies, so that was really nice.
Mm.
But no, so she was really good. But then in my senior year, I had a cooking class,
Oh no.
which you would think, oh, that's gonna be really helpful. I think we had the same test about 8 times, and can you guess what the subject of the test was?
Politics.
No. The subject of the test, and it was always the same test as well, was measurement conversions.
Oh no,
How
math!
many tablespoons are in one cup? How many teaspoons are in one tablespoon?
Oh
Literally, it was the
no.
same damn test. We cooked all of like 3 times.
Iron Banner.
Oh
And like
no.
we also like didn't have funding. So essentially, we were in a really cramped classroom that was almost certainly a fire hazard because there were stoves and ovens and such. But essentially, we had to like bring our own ingredients, which we were high school students. We couldn't do that. We didn't have the money to buy ingredients, nor did we have the refrigeration to bring them to class.
Here's my latest creation, the ramen cake. Next
And I'll
week,
tell you,
I'll have the
probably
ramen pie.
most interesting thing we ever did in class was where what was I? I know that I discovered that quesadillas were really easy to make, and that I really liked them. And I think we also made jambalaya at one point that I actually really enjoyed. Yeah, we made jambalaya, which was really good. That being said, it was just jambalaya out of a box, but still, it's tasty.
Hey, if it tastes good, it's all that
I mean,
matters.
it was real tasty. But it was basically just a box of jambalaya, add some sausage in, and I think it was like I want to say it was like a boil type of thing, but I can't remember. I think it was just like you literally just boiled it because it was like rice. It was essentially pre-seasoned rice, I think. It was really good. So I don't know, that was really tasty. And later would go on to bake cookies, and that was all we did. Those were the things that we did.
Zone B captured. Opponent claims Zone C.
Which for the most part, while interesting, was mostly useless because most of the stuff that I learned I already knew.
Mm.
And the rest that I learned didn't stick because who gives a shit? Why do I care how many tablespoons are in a cup? If I ever need the knowledge, I can just Google it. I don't need the capacity to do those calculations off the top of my head. And I'll admit, there have been times where I need to do this calculation, but I just Google it.
You captured Zone B.
Because who's got time to bother remembering that, of all things? If it's that big of a problem, just have a fucking chart somewhere.
I mean, you know,
Print it out and
Yeah.
pin it to the wall.
if you're a chef, maybe.
Hey, if you're a chef, absolutely. But none of us were chefs. Far from it. Most of us burned stuff.
Another hunt will come soon.
But, yeah, no. So, that class was useless. Also, programming class.
Oh
just
no,
as useless.
dude! I had to take like the first time I had an extra class, it was computers and electronics. Thought, okay, I'm gonna learn things about computers. No, I got to learn the history of the computer.
Oh, that's just terrible. That's cruelty.
Oh man, Will. I can't even remember anything off the top of my head to be like, hey, did you know this interesting historical fact? No, I got
No,
nothing.
there's nothing interesting about it. It's like literally because all the mechanics for computers existed long before computers were a thing, except that they were so boring that only the most boring people alive cared.
Look, I still have the book downstairs. I
Best leave it there. Best leave it to be forgotten. It's like, when was the first computer made? Steve Jobs built the first computer. Where did he get the idea from? It came from space.
I prefer the idea that aliens abducted Steve Jobs and gave him the idea.
I mean, like, I'm just reading the whole Minecraft thing is like, you know, people are gonna ask me, she's like, hey, who made Minecraft? And she's like, nobody made Minecraft. It just arrived one day from space.
The final
Like-
frontier.
Yeah, it's like, 'cause, you know, Notch is just like actually insane at this point. But yeah.
Captured. You have the advantage.
Also, programming class pretty much useless, though I actually got to give it some props because essentially the class was about 3/4 of the first semester of programming that I took in college. Because I took college programming classes for like about a semester or two. And for that first semester, the first 3/4 of it was about the same stuff we had in that programming class. The difference, though, is that in the programming class we had a full year.
Being hunted.
In college, we had like 2 months.
You must do something.
So it just kind of was like, hey, good thing you took the time with this before.
I mean, kind of. Like, it didn't really help me. Like, I knew how to type hello world, and that was about it. Thing is, though, is that most people who were starting didn't even know how to do that.
Oh,
The flames have
So for that first semester, I was top of the world. But then the second semester, suddenly, I started falling behind.
ah,
I am not a programmer, not even remotely.
Zone B.
I know some of the basics and maybe could kind of dissect some code at this point, but in reality, no, there's no way. I know
Yeah.
just enough to know that I know nothing at all.
I remember there was this one time, like during the summer, I had taken an art class and done a little bit of that, and like, I mean, I did decently enough, but I wasn't like some amazing person at it in the class. But I mean, I did get like a little, like I had to paint a cell, like how it would be done for an old school animation, and like had to try to draw like this poster for Angry Birds. Like a couple little things I can think of, like the art, like the animation cell was really cool with how that
Okay.
worked.
It's an
And then like
interesting thing to do, but yeah, okay.
and like the only real thing I got out of it was basically depth. So like going into a more 3D style because I couldn't do it. Couldn't do I ended up doing it with after like because the teacher of course would be coming around and be like, hey, how are you doing on this? And then so I managed to get it to work, but not like first try or anything like that. And the only like really good thing I would have gotten from it, and like now Zombie doesn't quite remember the technique on how to do that now. So it's just like, but the other thing, the one that was my lead up to that, so I sidetracked because I thought you'd find it interesting with that. But the other thing, I took a game design class. So it was a week-long thing, and you'd work on a game. And so it's just like, and Zombie actually did good with it. I mean, I was the only one whose game kind of like is self-destructed when it was my showcase.
Oh, lovely.
But it's basically Zombie was trying to have like a 5-level system, different bosses. I was going all in. So I had to try to cut out. I had to cut out the 4th level because it was going to be a 2-part boss fight. So
Was
level
it like
4
a video
turns
game?
in. Yeah, video game. So it turns in. So level 4 then leads into level 5, and it's like the same bad guy, but like so I had to cut out the first level. I go in, hello Jane, how are you doing? So I had to cut out the level 4, goes just straight into level 5. And so that was the thing. So I get to level 5, technically level 4 at this point. So I have my big bad guy. He's like and so he appears on screen. He sonics his way to the left of the screen and is never seen heard from again. Everyone just like started laughing because it was just so unexpected. There wasn't the poop. Where'd he go? Because there was like basically he was like supposed to bounce around the room because it was like 2D. It was a 2D pixelated game.
I see. Okay.
So and so it was just kind of like so, and of course so something was wrong with the collision mechanics. So the teacher's like, okay, well, we still have a bunch more people who are going to showcase their games. So you go and fix that. And so, well, they do that. So I went in. I saw what I did. I put the fix. And we booted up again. Get to that point.
Did you do it again?
Boop.
Did it again.
And so it was just like, well, I'm going to just have to take it home and just fix it
here's
for
the question.
myself.
Did you ever, when you did the fix, did you then test it?
I had no time. I had absolutely no time. And so it was just like, but I went into the coding, did this because I just basically it was supposed to be basically I had to flip what I had done. And so I flipped it. And then by the time I had flipped it, it was my turn again. And it just didn't work. So, which is tragic. But, I mean, at least I got the teacher to go and be like, he actually worked really hard on it. I'm sorry you guys didn't get to really see it work. I'm sorry that he didn't get to get it to work so that he could relish it. But basically, he said, I did good. I did good despite it. So it was a really nice thing he did with that.
I'm just remembering because I actually did something kind of similar, where I took a game design course. It wasn't in school; it was in Boy Scouts, so it was like a summer camp type thing. remember I was looking forward to it because it's like, oh, game design, it sounds so cool. And then it was like, oh, like board games and shit. And I was like, oh, that's fucking disappointing.
Oh.
But actually, it turned out for the better though, because we were tasked with to design a game over the course of the. We were supposed to design a game over the course of the thing and like make pieces for it or board or whatever. And we could use it like card games, board games, whatever. And I made a card game that we actually ended up playing just in the troop for like the remainder of that camp. Which basically it was
Man,
the whole.
everyone.
What do you mean? Oh, I mean, I don't know if we ever ranked them at all, but like most of them were like really bad like board games drawn on pieces of notebook paper.
Hmm.
So like most of them were pathetic. Mine had some concrete rules and was actually enjoyable to play. Basically, it was a card game. It was a pretty simple game. Basically, the whole concept of the game is based on the idea of somebody watching a card game without having any idea what game is being played, and having no clue what the hell is going on and what the rules are. That's the core concept of the game. Is basically to confuse everybody around you who isn't in on what the game is. The name of the game was actually Confusion.
Oh, that sounds so much fun.
Now, the rules of it were also fun. So it's meant to be a fast game. And basically, if you noticeably hesitate, you lose. Now, basically, it is based off of the same concept as the game BS, if you ever heard of that game.
No.
Well, okay, so I'll just describe this game itself, because BS is a whole other thing. So essentially, it works as in you split up all the cards, the entire deck, amongst everybody present. And the number of players has to be like at least 3 people, usually. So you split up the entire deck amongst those people. The first person then puts down the ace of spades. The person who goes after them, going in like a clockwise manner, essentially, they have to put down a card that has no relation to the ace of spades. So, for example, a 7 of hearts would be perfectly fine, but a 7 of spades would not be fine. Nor would a 2 of hearts, because it's adjacent to that. So essentially, if the cards had any relation to each other, then the person would be called out. This is where the game became a bit more fun, is that the whole idea is that you had to whip these cards out. So if you hesitated, you would also get called out. And it is actually part of the rule, because in BS, it would basically be whenever somebody lies, they would say BS and then check their card. And then if they were caught lying, they would take the entire deck that is now on the table.
Oh no.
The rules are similar to this one, where basically if you hesitate or put down a card that can be somehow related to the previous card, then you get called out and have to take the entire deck. Now, also part of the rules is that you actually are not allowed to say words. Like, you can say whatever, like, oh, I put down this, I put down that, yada yada yada. But the thing is, though, calling somebody out, you don't actually, there's no thing, you don't say BS, you don't say confusion, you just kind of go, ah, like you just make noise.
That's perfect
Like-
for zombie.
Yeah, basically it is, if somebody has it, you go, ah, just kind of, like literally just, and usually the noise was a noise of savage triumph. Because it basically, like, if ever, and it was a very informal thing, it wasn't like, 3 seconds, it was literally, if a beat passes and you haven't put down a card, people can yell at you. And then you have to take the deck. And here's the thing though, much like in BS, if you cheat, that is allowed. In that, if, for instance, somebody puts down a 2 of spades, and before anyone has even a chance to really look at it, you throw down a 3 of hearts, which would be not allowed, and then the next person throws one down, and if they only were like, wait, no, that was illegal, it's like, too bad, It's already down. So like once the next person plays, any cheating done by the previous person is forgiven.
Yeah.
And the game's fast paced, so like you can very easily miss it. But it was a really fun game. And what's more is that actually there was a way to scale up the difficulty as well, which is that to add extra rules in there of like what would be considered relation. Like I think that like the base rules was essentially if it was one number adjacent or part of the same suit, and then an additional couple of rules. I remember both of them. I remember one of them was if it was an odd or an even number, or if it was a red card or a black card. So basically, any relation, and you put that down, and you can be called out for it. It was a really fun game. We played it for the entire camp, because a lot of Boy Scouts' time at summer camp is usually spent playing card games. I'm actually pretty decently good at fucking blackjack for exactly that reason. But yeah, so that was a game I made, and it was really fun. I would say, oh, we should play that sometime in tabletop, except the fact is in tabletop it would be impossible because it's too fast-paced.
Well, that's why we save it for a group meetup.
Yeah, like eventually it would be like, yeah, let's do some fusion. But it's like the whole fun of the game was playing the game while people around you didn't know the rules. Because essentially the game itself was a troll to everyone who didn't know the game. And it was just like, yeah.
It's just like not being in on that joke.
Essentially, yeah. It's like basically that was the whole concept was because I got the idea from watching other people play a card game that I didn't know the rules of. That was clearly not this game. It was some other thing I found out. But I didn't understand the rules at all. And I just looked in the air putting down random cards. So I kind of based off that concept, like, okay, so what if you made a game of that, where it's like actual, not random cards, but two cards that have no relation whatsoever to each other, and then made that into a game designed to confuse you, because as far as people knew, there would be very little kind of patterns to follow.
And it'd be too fast even to start to
Yeah,
develop.
it would be too fast to really be able to hone in on any of those patterns.
Because of either too many different cards are put down or too many blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. No, honestly, like that was part of the rule, is like, is that you couldn't, like, it doesn't matter what you do, just make noise and indicate that something has happened. Which the whole idea is like, imagine you're just watching a card game, they're slapping down cards, they're looking intent, so they just go, oh, just pointing at the things, like, what the fuck happened?
I just got like an image of like a bunch of cavemen playing a game, just being,
Essentially, yeah, it's like, there was a lot of stuff like in fact, by the time we got to it, the most common thing was kind of just incoherent screeching while pointing at the deck and looking triumphantly at the person who put the card down.
I'm imagining
I would reenact it here,
defiantly angry.
I would reenact it here, except that parents are sleeping, and I don't want them to be that mad at me. It was really a fun game. Like, I would absolutely play that game again. That game, unfortunately, that game did not ever leave summer camp. Like, it kind of like we still knew it, but we never played it again afterwards.
Well, don't worry. Now that Zombie knows, Zombie wants to play it. It's guaranteed to come back to life at some point.
I mean, we'll fucking see. If ever we do like actually meet up for like something, absolutely. Let's do some of that if we remember. But no, I made that game. It was such a simple game. And like the core concept was you don't want people to be able to tell what the fuck the rules are, and that the cards literally do not have any relation to each other. Those were the two core rules. And it really worked out really well. It was just a game that was surrounded with pure chaos.
The best type of game.
Yeah.
Though, I will say, I do want to kind of pivot back to like more of the class, like elective class type part of the subject that we were on.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so like, because like, of course, like my electives were basically learning German, the thinking and learning strategies, and then the one that I actually liked, film.
See, I'm just thinking, I fucking wish I could have learned German. I had high school Spanish and I hated it.
Oh, I wanted to learn Russian, but like it was the year after I had took German. They were like, "Hey, there's Russian now." Like, really, really? I got that out of the way. Now you add it, and it's just like
See, I would have
I only needed 3, and I didn't want to take a 4th class, so I didn't do it.
loved to have learned Latin or German, both of which were taken out of my high school in favor of Spanish and French. I didn't give a shit about Spanish or French.
French. I tried French first, and oof, it wasn't good. It was not good. Like by the end of the first like section of it, they were like, "You're gonna learn how to count to 1,000." What?
Oh god. Also, doesn't France have like a stupid ass counting system where it's like it gets stupidly long as the numbers get bigger? I know there's a couple of countries out there that have.
I never pinpointed that, but yeah, they were really long words.
Yeah,
Really, really long words, man.
because like I seem to remember that like Spanish actually pretty efficient. It was about as efficient as English, 172. 1,782. It's like it gets a bit long, but it still like makes sense. But then
It's
I think
coherent.
yeah, it's like it's still a coherent singular unit, basically going down a list of thousands, hundreds, etc. I seem to recall hearing at one point that French or something was like it was just like it was just put together in a different manner, and it just came out a lot longer.
It's compounded.
Yeah, it's like it would be like 1,000 and another 1,002 or something like that. Like doesn't make any sense.
I looked at it, like I looked ahead, and my heart sank. And I was disenrolled, and I got German. Like the thing
I
was
must have-
right, like they had a whole textbook thing for
Mhm.
that. German was Rosetta Stone. It's like, oh,
Mm. I was at
I
that
can
point
do
just
that.
fucking buy a Rosetta Stone.
Well, but it was like for the curriculum.
Oh, I see. Well, the thing is, like, I don't like that they made learning a different language mandatory because the fact is they always do them bad. Like the only ones that I think they might do decently is like Latin and German, and that's because both of those. Well, actually, I'm just gonna say both of them are white languages. Because I'll tell you what. Did I ever tell you about my Spanish teacher and how horrible she was? So for starters, Spanish class. Teaching not Mexican Spanish, which would have actually been possibly useful to us because we live in Texas. No, speaking Spain Spanish. Very different. And also being taught Spain Spanish by a woman who speaks Portuguese and was from Cuba. Bottom line, she was terrible, and she pronounced everything differently. Was the big detail. Apparently, the thing is that Cubans speak Spanish to a certain degree, but they pronounce everything differently. and like have various
So it's like
different slang.
basically, it's basic. So okay, yeah, never mind. On what Zombie was gonna say on the matter. But
Either
yeah, I'm
way,
following.
she was not qualified to teach Spanish that we actually could have found useful potentially.
To battle.
But then also the way she taught it was a nightmare because she made us get at the front of class and sing in Spanish.
What?
I'm not joking. She literally would say, "Hey, get up there and sing a song in Spanish."
Oh,
And every single time, what would happen is somebody would go up there, stand awkwardly for a minute, and usually with like a look of her like, "Are you fucking crazy?" And then she would say, "Oh yeah, get out of here," and they'd go sit down and be like, "Ah, none of you are doing trying." It's like, yeah, because you're trying to shame us into learning Spanish.
Zombie.
Absolutely god awful. I failed her class, I think. I had to retake Spanish, which was horrible, but thankfully, I don't think the next teacher cared at all. Watched a lot of Spanish novellas without subtitles on,
Oop.
because I guess he thought that we might figure it out eventually.
You know,
So,
it works.
I mean, I like it. I will tell you now that first class has not only failed to teach me Spanish, but has now given me a rather permanent aversion to learning Spanish or having any desire to learn Spanish.
Zone C.
Because ever since, I've just associated with that fucking class. So, yeah, no, it was bad. It was real bad. But I suspect that what you want to talk about isn't language class. You want to talk about film class, didn't you?
Well, you know, it was great because they focused on it was split between film movies and like movie production and theater.
Theater.
Captured 2 zones.
And so, you know, they had me watch The Wizard of Oz, Casablanca, and Singing in the Rain. Which
Casablanca. Was that the Marx Brothers?
mm,
Yeah. I can't
Wait.
remember.
it had Humphrey Bogart in it.
I do not recognize him.
Pulling ahead.
But basically, he was like all good movies, and I would have some questions about the movies. I even had like questions about like, hey, what's a film that you've seen, and then what's the criticism of it? I had just seen Logan, and I was not happy with just how dark and depressing it was. Yes, I knew it was R-rated, but the ending left me very unsatisfied.
I mean,
That's,
it was meant to literally be the end of,
Zone A lost.
like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
Yeah, but I mean, I still was left unsatisfied. I was still like very not happy with it and all of that, but it was like for a bunch of reasons. But
I mean, I'll tell you no.
but
For me,
the
my
outside-
my outlook on it was basically that it was an amazing movie. I never want to see it again.
yeah, I got no desire to see it again. It was good. It was a proper send off.
Like, it was really good. It was really well made. But I never want to see it again.
But yeah, so it was just like, so I would get film stuff like that, like movie productions questions like that. I would have like the text questions, and just like, and it's basically it was just basically you remember. So what's this and this? This was this, then you do this, and so just simple. You remember it, and you write and like how to do this, and so what simple questions.
Yeah.
And then you have the essay questions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Always fun.
Always.
Something
Like
you-
so.
It's like
It
either you hate
was-
them or you love them.
those questions were just like, so if you were making a stage production of The Wizard of Oz, how would you create the effect of the Emerald City? So basically, just going like because they're mostly focusing on how you set up for. So it's the history of the theater, and then how you make a movie. And
I mean,
they're
I'll be
like,
honest,
how do you make a theater production, basically? And
I'll be honest, one of the things that I was never really impressed with at any point was stage plays. Like, yeah, they've been around since antiquity, but they're antique. And, like, we have no budget to do anything impressive. We're not good actors. They will only ever be bad if we did them. Like, now, coming back when you're actually, like, talking about filming or something. Like, I don't care about a stage play of Wizard of Oz.
Zone B captured. 2 zones.
like it was, oof. It was a lot of oof with it, man.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, and it would get to the, and so like, but of course it was, and again, it's just like they're going over the history of the theater, but they're not going in on how you make it really. And so, and then they're like, so how would you make this? I have an idea on how I would do it for a movie. How do you make it for a theater production?
Yeah, that's a problem.
And so it was just like, how would you go about making the Emerald City? The Emerald City's green, and so it just was a whole thing about on like just the type of scenery, of course, and just achieving the green effect. It's green.
Right.
Like this is no
Problem is
disrespect to the teacher.
the hints in the name
Exactly.
that it's green. I mean, probably
And
you could do something as simple as, because it's a stage play, shitty quality, you can probably get away with just having a cardboard cutout painted a reflective color and then shining green light on it. That'd probably be your best bet.
Well, I mean, it was basically like talking about professional grade, though.
I mean, yeah, it's like there's a reason that professional grade is because they do interesting stuff. You ought not to expect professional grade from students.
So it was just the whole thing, and like again, no disrespect to the teacher, he's pretty awesome. But like I had accidentally sent because again homeschooled stuff like that, so I'd send it in over it'd be the online portal, send in my Word document for the text questions, and so I had accidentally sent him the text questions for the previous
Zone advantage.
section or whatever. I can't think of the words for it right now, but
Zone B.
so basically it was section 10, and I had sent him the thing for 9. Gave me 100%. Just like, I don't know if you even read what I wrote, but I'm glad that you didn't penalize me for sending you the wrong thing. I send him the thing for what I would do for the Emerald City, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get his response back, like he graded it, and it's just like, all glitter is not gold,
2 zones are yours.
and and then zombie, all glitter is not gold. Of course, he didn't call me zombie, but
Yeah.
I'm not putting my name out there.
Like,
But
there's like kind of confused response. Like, you realize, like, wait, hold on, this isn't right.
and it's just like at first I see gold, I'm like, okay, it's good, and then wait, no, that doesn't sound right, and then I was like, son of a gun insulted me with Shakespeare. He done used Shakespeare to cut down my work.
Damn, that's brutal.
And so it's just like it's a lot of this and that, and it's just like, well, I'm sorry, I'm not so certain on how I'm supposed to go about a professional theater production when I've been told how to make a professional film, basically, essentially, kind of, sort of. It's not, of course, not full on, but the idea of how I would go about it.
And what's more is that it sounds like the class also really didn't teach you how to do any of those things. Like, they just kind of threw it at you and said, hey, what do you think you want to do? Like, I don't know. What the hell are you supposed to do? I don't know. You tell me.
And it was,
Like, no, that's not how this works. I need to learn these things first.
like, it was, like, and again, for, like, reading through on how to make a film production, the whole thing with watching the films and, like, answering the questions, it was great. But the whole theater side of it is just, like, it was frustrating, and it's just like, are you kidding me? It's the Emerald City. It's green. But fine, you know what? I'll make it the Diamond City. And the reason why it's called the Emerald City is because they have a vault full of emeralds. How you like that?
Yeah, it's really spit in the face there.
So it's just like, and it's just like, when you realize, when you look at it and go, okay, no, I'm good, and then realize, wait, no, that doesn't sound right, and then realize, wait, he's quoting something, and you look it up and find out it's Shakespeare. It's like a really bad kick. A really
I'll say
bad
as well,
kick.
A lesson about Shakespeare that a lot of people get wrong: Shakespeare is not pretentious. Shakespeare's works are not even remotely pretentious. Fans of Shakespeare are extremely pretentious. There's a very distinct difference, but you wouldn't guess it because, well, the fans are always the one who are talking about Shakespeare. So,
So it's just like, it was
to quote a picture that I saw some time ago, Shakespeare is just a collection of increasingly more incoherent plots with increasingly fucking gay characters. That's basically it. More ridiculous plots and more gay characters.
like, oh, what was, like, there were, like, and, like, I had to, like, it was, like, having to read, like, a whole, what was it, like, manuscript for, like, one of the Shakespeare plays, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically, like, so, it's like, oh, what was it? So, okay, so, I think it's, like, some rich girl, like, ends up, oh, what is it? What is, like, she somehow ends up at this place, and then disguises herself as a guy to kind of find out who these rich people living at this place are. And then she falls in love with the guy, but she's under the guise of being a guy, so there's nothing that can really be done. And it's like it's a back and forth thing too, where she's sometimes herself, and it's been so long, I'm not doing it right, but it was a whole thing. And I know that there's this guy Malvolio, who was so there was a girl that the girl who disguised as a guy, he was in love with her, and then. And so, but Malvolio also had a crush, but he was like a guards type person. And so,
Kind of one of those things like, oh, I am of lower birth, I cannot possibly be with you, yada yada yada.
and then
It's real
like
fan favorite Shakespeare's.
and then like a couple people
Fight.
like somehow related to the girl that he had a crush on. They were like, okay, we know that he has a crush, so we're going to make it seem like she kind of likes him too. And so, and so there was the whole thing with that.
How wrong did that go?
He kind of he ended up getting locked in a closet because she thought he was drunk.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, that does sound like a Shakespeare kind of thing to do. I'm gonna be honest.
and then by the end of the story, he was let out of the closet, and then he was like, and then he went off on it, just like, what the heck did you do? What was all of this? And so, like, basically, I had to do a reading for a part as one of my final things, and again, it was for theater, not for film. So it's just like, you know what? I'm going to go with Malvolio. I did that
Oh, no.
part.
Zone B.
Oh,
I mean-
no. And let me get this straight. So this was not the actual character in the thing. This was a character who had a crush on somebody, but the people who were doing the play were like, "Hey, we want to make this a bit more something."
Their momentum. Keep
Well,
So they
it's
then
like no,
altered
like
it.
two
Is that what I'm
characters.
understanding?
No. So basically, it's two other characters tricked him,
Oh, I see. Okay.
and so like it's just so they tricked him to think that this girl actually liked him, and then
But she didn't, and so she thought he was drunk.
and so he was thrown into a closet,
Into the closet with you.
opponent claims
and then by the end they remembered he was in the closet and let the guy out.
You know,
And then
honestly,
he was like, "What the heck did you do to me?"
honestly, the more you say, the more it sounds either like a teenage girl writing fan fiction about Shakespeare or just straight up Shakespeare. And that
It was
honestly says a
Shakespeare.
lot about Shakespeare.
It was, I mean, like, I will say, like, nothing really went wrong with my whole reading of it, or for it.
But it was
Like,
bizarre.
it was just like one of those. It was just kind of fun to do because I was basically reading this point at the end where he's all upset because, like, and this guy is he's a proud character, so he's really feeling the burn.
He was like, "How dare you insult me like this? You have made me look bad."
And he had these really colorful stockings that he wore to impress her too. And so
Shakespeare. Increasingly ridiculous plots with increasingly homosexual characters.
so
He even has the socks to match.
it was like, but it was a lot of fun doing the reading, but I had no idea how to do that, so that was a fun thing. Just like, okay, well, I'll just wing it. Effectively, I found a video that was a good guide, and then I pulled in James. I was just like, hey, did I do this correctly? Because James is in theater, so he knew that stuff. And he's like, yeah, that's good. I was like, okay. I send it to the teacher for grading. I look to see my grade. It's a 0.
Fucking what? Wait, hold on. What did you get a 0 for exactly?
What's up?
What did you get a 0 for exactly?
The reading.
That you do
I
in
had
class.
I had to send a video of me doing a reading for a part, and it was for the part of
I-
Malvolio, and I got a 0. And it's like, what? It turned out it's just there was a problem sending the video, and so
Okay,
it
that's
was,
like I was like, how shitty can you get?
and it was just like, and it's like one of those things where it's not like you can actually be really graded. It's just like you have to do it for credit. And
Yeah, it's like that's what
you
I'm saying. It's like,
doing
there's
it.
no way that there's no way to get that wrong.
So it's just like, so you know, it was still the little back in Zombie's mind, kind of being a little, self-conscious about it because you know it's effectively, it's just something I haven't done and I can't say I'm really an actor, and so it's just like, and then going in just saying like, I got a 0. Oh no.
Yeah, the thing is like it doesn't mean
That's
not
not
being an actor.
good.
It
And
doesn't
so,
mean not being an actor and then being actually fucked by somebody who apparently doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
but like, but the guy was like, hey, it didn't load properly. Try loading it in this format, and I loaded it in that format, and I got 100%. So
Better
it
question.
couldn't open it, but
Better question, why did it give you a 0 in the first place? Just give a not turned in.
it depends on how their system worked, and I think it was basically they had to put a grade, and they were allowed to put in a retry.
Oh,
So it's just how their system worked, but it was just disheartening to go in and be like, you got the 0, and like, oh.
it's like, yeah, you got the 0. We didn't even know it was possible to get that score.
And then
Congratulations on beating the fucking odds.
And then it was either before or after. I don't remember, but basically because like Zombies never had to do a PowerPoint presentation, but they were basically like, hey, we need you to make a PowerPoint presentation and like make a stage and show like how you would have the blocking moving around and like where you'd have like pieces for the set and whatnot. I can't remember what the set was like for what thing or whatever, but it was basically design a stage and with all your props and where your actors are going to be moving. And so I did that again. Never done the PowerPoint presentation before, but I did it. I sent it in. Get the grade back. It's a 0.
Jesus Christ, man.
And I'm like, what again? And it just turned out it couldn't open the file I sent, so I had to send it in a different format again. So,
yeah.
But again, it's just like one of those things where it's just like I had to go out of my comfort zone, and it felt like I got hit for it.
Yeah, no, it's like, and you still want to go into like film, don't you? Not that specifically, but like other stuff.
Yeah, film, like the animation and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and then just like throwing theater at me. It's like, yeah, it's related, kinda. I mean, they're forcing it being related to the film aspect by saying, so that movie you watched, how would you make it into a stage play? Oh.
Yeah, fuck that.
But
That's the example where you just say, no thank you, I choose to not do that thing you just said I should do.
Press on.
But yeah, no.
I mean, the teacher
Stage
himself
plays
was
are-
really good, though.
Also, right now, I watched stage plays as a kid. Like, I actually went to a place here in Beaumont called the Julia Roberts Theater, I believe it's called. I actually went there and watched, like, all sorts of plays. Just because, like, my parents would go and watch them. At no point was I particularly impressed with them, but honestly, even the good ones were never all that impressive. Like, they didn't compare to even, like, the lower quality of movies. Not to mention, they were always super long. I'm not one who has a particular desire to see a stage play. Yeah. And the fact is, most people aren't, because why on earth would you want to? They're dull, they're really long, and really, it's just like, I didn't, like, looking back, I can't remember a single thing I actually thought was good about the stage plays that I saw. Like it was different. It was kind of like seeing, like it was like going to the opera. Like, who wants to go to the opera? Not many people.
But I mean, like, I will say it was in some capacity. I think for some things I would want to, but it would have to be for very specific reasons.
Yeah,
and like the one with Malvolio that I was talking about. If that was if there was a play that was for that in town, I would see it. I would see it because I very much enjoyed the story because it was funny, and I will say I very much enjoyed Malvolio's character just because of that whole thing. It wasn't by far was not the main part, like main focus, but it was funny. because of just how ridiculous it got.
And that's pretty much Shakespeare, really. Is like Shakespeare was like the original Monty Python. It was like it was just weird shit all the time.
But like it was still like a worthwhile class all in all, even if it had too much of a theater focus. But it's still like the things that it did offer for film was nice.
Right, so there was also things like, because in Boy Scouts we did all sorts of stuff. One of those things that would come up was that whenever we did camps, we would do skits.
Oh, I had to do a skit before. Oof. And it was like on the spot, basically, because it was a scout meeting, and just like, hey, you guys are gonna do a bunch of skits, so here's your group. It's just like, okay,
Yeah,
we'll
usually
throw
they'll
something
just give a
together in like 10 minutes. We only had 10 minutes to come up with something.
Yikes. Yeah, that's the thing, honestly, is that if ever like you're caught off guard with a skit, it's essentially like being thrust on a stage and somebody saying, "Hey, monkey, dance." It's like, well, what the hell, man? What do you expect from me? Now, with our stuff, almost always we had like some serious prep time to do a skit, which we either could like find a script that we had, or reuse an old skit we've already seen before, which happened a fair bit. And almost all of them were, kind of silly, funny. Probably the one that I remember the most vividly was the Raisin Bran skit, which I'm gonna go ahead and assume you have no idea what the fuck
Nope.
that is.
Opponent claims zone C.
Well, essentially, it's pretty straightforward. Starts out with about three people in the middle, just kind of
5 minutes.
dancing, just kind of hopping and dancing around, going the raisin, the bread, the raisin makes the cereal so good, the raisin, the bread, like kind of like Raisin Bran cereal, like they're the raisin cereal essentially. And they're just kind of bobbing around dancing for a moment or so, and then a guy with his arms kind of in a circle over his head walks up and go, "Oh, spoon, spoon, spoon!"
The battlefield is yours.
And the guy then goes in and chases them around for a moment before carrying one of them off.
Oh wow.
And they're like, "Oh God, that's a spoon." They're like, "Well, man, back to it." They start singing again. The raisin, the brand, the raisin, the brand. And they keep doing this. And every few moments, Spoon comes back and takes until there's now like 2 or 3 of them left. But he's not holding his spoon. He's just holding his arms up at like right angles. It's like, "Oh, spoon, spoon! Wait, hold on, it's not a spoon. It's a fork. Hey, fork, how's it going?" And then the guy just proceeds to take his hands at the right angles and go, whoop, just right the shape of a spoon. He's like, "Oh, spoon!" And just takes and it finally gets to the point where there's only one guy left, and he's like, and he's like, "I wish I was an Oscar Mayer wiener."
Oh.
And then proceeded to be chased off stage by the spoon.
Find your prey and end them.
And that was a skit. It wasn't exactly a complex skit, but it was funny.
I like honestly that's pretty funny. I would enjoy seeing that. Like,
I mean, it was fun both to be in and just to watch. Like it was like an old classic essentially. It's like we all seen it at least like a dozen times over the course of our time at Scouts, but it was still funny.
Zone C captured.
Also, it became a thing that different troops had different skits. Like some skits crossed over, but most skits were like ones that troops would perform themselves from time to time just for their own entertainment. And then it really kicks off when troops actually come together in summer camps. It's like, hey, let's get some you got. I think Raisin Bran was one of our skits. Another one that actually our troop kind of stole because we just loved it so much. Which is that's how it works. So basically, if you found a skit that you really liked, you think you could reproduce, you just fucking straight up took it. Essentially, so we got a guy. This one kind of takes the form of a story with multiple telling different parts. The story goes as such. So a man gets on a plane. Basically like a dude who is who is starting to get into bird watching. So what do you take with on the plane? Well, he takes a bird watching book. So he takes the bird watching book, and the plane crashes and explodes, and he gets stranded on an island.
Oh.
And he's he's kind of having to acclimate. So he's like, and he starts kind of starving. He's like, I need to eat. So he's like, I can't eat these plants. I don't know what they are. They might be poison or something. But then he realizes, oh, I have the bird book. So he looks in the bird book until he finds that there are birds on the island that are edible. And one in particular that looks the easy to catch was called a loon. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple type of bird. It was pretty dumb. It was pretty easy to catch. And so he goes and manages to catch one of them. And he's successful. He's like, oh my god, I finally caught a bird, this loon. And so he goes to cook it, and as he bites into it, though, finds that the loon is absolutely disgusting. Like, horrible. Just absolute dog shit. He's like, I can't eat this. I'll starve to death before I can eat this. And so he consults the bird book again. And he finds that there actually is another bird in the area that he'd recognized called the Medicat. Just another bird. This one's like an eagle falcon type bird. It was like more carnivorous. And he found out that actually Medicats would actually eat loons. And that in fact you could lure a Medicat, use it by basically packing a loon like full of something sweet like sugar. So he goes around, he manages to get some sugar, he packs the loon with it, and he goes and he sets his trap. And so finally, a Medicat comes around and gets it. And he manages to successfully capture the Medicat. And I think it was he had a slingshot or something that he had made. He swung his slingshot, took it down. And at the end of this thing, which we're coming across pretty quickly, so he gets so he finally got it and he got to eat happily. And so he's like, so guys, the moral of the story is, and everybody comes together, a loon full of sugar helps the Medicat go down.
Oh no.
Yeah. And they would sing that verse a couple of times before bowing and heading off stage.
Well, I knew that there was something I don't know what it I've never there's whole thing about it. I get that there's a joke to it, but I don't understand the background from it because zombie just.
Oh wait, you don't recognize the joke there? Like the very bit right at the end.
I recognize that it's the punchline and that it's a joke and it's an oh no because of the birds making up the whole thing.
Yeah,
But
essentially it was like a Mary
I don't
Poppins
know
thing.
where
Like
it comes
a spoonful of
Mary
sugar
Poppins?
helps the medicine go down. Yeah.
Okay. So
It was like her prime song, wasn't it?
I don't know. I've never seen Mary Poppins. The
I mean,
most
neither have
Mary
I, but I still
Poppins
know the
thing-
song. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. That whole thing.
The most Mary Poppins thing I know is Yondu.
I mean, anyway, so that kind of falls flat then. But that was the whole thing.
No,
Is that they
I
spent
understand the joke and enough where it's that's funny. I knew there was something to the bird names because it's just wait. But but I will say though, we have reached the conclusion of tonight's live stream. So thank you to everyone for tuning in tonight. There's a chance of another Iron Bandit stream by Monday, we'll see where things go. They'll, unless like something radically changes tomorrow, we should be on time for another Minecraft stream. We should be green for a Splatoon 2 stream on Saturday night. So, all of that. But anyways, thank you all again for tuning in tonight.
Maybe next time I'll tell you guys about the snipe hunts.
Ooh. But thank you, Will, for crashing the party. Because you
course.
definitely did not get an invite, but it's been
Nope.
a lot of fun.
I just kind of arrived.
It's like, I saw that you had a party here.
I invited myself.
But, and of course, kid's probably not here right now, but on the off chance you are, thank you for joining as well tonight, kid. But with that, thank you for everyone who tuned in. I'll catch you all on the next stream or video. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.